Welcome back to the PPL, guys. I'm still here on the desk. We're here for the very last set on this very last day for this PPL split. I'm Fawn. Once again, I'm joined by Kresnik. We're still here on the desk bringing you guys all the analysis that we possibly can. And I'm excited for this battle because this is the fight for third place, like Nick said.
Yeah, this is the first match for VP today that will really have that weight
Right.
of who we're going to be playing once we head into the final bracket. Now that we know for sure that Navi and NIP will be on their respective sides, this is basically who do you want to face?
Right.
The winner of this match will, I believe, they'll be on the side of the bracket that NIP's on, and the loser will be on the side that Navi's on.
Oh, yeah.
Who they'll be playing to get to that person will be decided by the qualifier bracket, but still for now, they know that.
Right.
They know what they're going to be playing for now. Both these teams, I believe, have taken wins over NIP before, so we'll have to see who wants to be able to get that luxury of having a team they've beaten before to start.
I mean, Team Envy, once again, I mean, they have had sort of a, not necessarily going to say entirely rough split, but they found some losses here and there. But at the same time, when they show up, it's extremely powerful. They are a very, very close team. They play together a lot, and it is very, very scary to try and fight against these guys. And I mean, it always is such a joy to watch them play because of how consistent they can be.
I love the variance of monitor distance.
Oh.
I just noticed that Randoms is super close to him. Tolkie's is that's Hayes is really close. Okay, Tolkie and Randoms are super far away. Hayes is right in front of his face. Looks like Rubu's is pretty close to his face, and Rock Monkey wants some distance too. You know, he likes to keep his distance from the enemy.
Yeah.
Do the same there, but on the far side with the far monitor is Tolkie, the point tank for them, and I feel like recently he's kind of been like the silent carry for Envy. He's been having some fantastic performances. Always being outshone randomly by he'll have a great performance, but Rock Monkey will be like, oh, he went 20-6. So let's talk about Rock because he did a lot. But Tolkie's been doing phenomenally, I feel, for them in a meta where you have to be able to play a couple things in this point tank role. He's been doing great, about a 2 KDA. Always rotating off when he needs to be, but also hitting a lot, doing a lot of damage. His damage generally on this Barrack, on this Inara, have been really, really high and tough to deal with on the other side.
I mean, you just see the pressure he's able to create. I mean, even here in these replays, he's able to force, not necessarily always force so many fights, but he is a force to be reckoned with, is one thing I will say, and I'll stand on that. I mean, like you said, he's pulling out damage numbers that you typically, well, not that you typically don't see on front lines, but he's pulling out damage numbers consistently. There's the word.
Yeah.
Consistently on these front liners, which is what makes him a threat. And like you said, very, very silent. I mean, you wouldn't really expect him, not necessarily to pop off always, but you always see Rock Monkey, we're getting the glory because he's he's popping off, like you said, 20
Rock or Random has a random star game and stuff like that. It does happen, but both the tanks for the team have been great as always. Tokie's been with this roster, I believe, for a pretty long time. So definitely used to that. And working with that team, again, them being together so long, that synergy helps them a lot in some of the more dire situations. But this is actually kind of scary for VP, honestly.
Yeah.
This is after the loss Friday Envy, right?
Yeah.
That's always a scary thing to look at. We've seen them lose to, I think, Kanga and then come back and knock down NIP right after. So scary for them, but VP on the other side, they have had their great performances too after that break. Maybe a rough game earlier today, but that didn't have the pressure. We get to see how VP finally perform under all that pressure.
All VP's monitors evenly spaced, or, well, I believe erases. Well,
it's the angle. It's the angle.
Okay. But at the same time, though, they are literally just so they were on the rise throughout the split, literally beating every single PPL team. I mean,
I don't even know if I would call it a rise. It was like a 90-degree jump to the top. And now they're trying to get back on the rise to make it back there.
Yeah, I mean, they are just so powerful. I mean, Erase for sure. I mean, he always, no matter what character it is you put him on, the potential is that he has is almost, I don't want to say unlimited. It's like me gassing him up too much, but he's a very, very strong player.
Very Palpatine of you. Unlimited power. Unlimited power. Erase here, but we saw it in one of the trivia questions earlier. I mean, he had the most kills in the entirety of MSI. His performance with that minor league team was phenomenal. He's been, I think, a pretty solid fit for them.
Agreed.
As they figure out his hero pool more and more, I think he's going to fit even better. He's had a great performance on the back lines. Doing well, just chilling though for now, checking his phone, trying to stay mellow and calm for this. Doesn't want to let the pressure affect him too much, but out of all the people that would let pressure get to them, Arrays shouldn't be it after that performance at MSI that he had.
Yeah, I mean, such a good ice block, too. I mean, shout-outs to his teammate for being able to pull that off, blocking the Dragon Punch and then immediately Arrays cleans it up in kind right there. Such a sick play. But that's the type of team you're fighting against right now. And I'm glad that replay showed because it shows how powerful they can be together. Them as a team is extremely scary. I mean, you have a raise on this DPS, 86,000 average damage, 2.4 KDA. I mean, this man is so good at his rotations. He knows what he has to do, knows where he has to be. And when you put him on a comfort pick, I mean, it's even worse. And even if you don't have him on a comfort pick, he can flex onto a lot of different characters.
Yeah, and I think he's been doing great with it. You were talking about the team working together. I honestly think VP might have just gotten out of their honeymoon period.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's a big thing that comes up with these teams that make changes. As soon as you change something around, your team is going to perform better right away. In a lot of times, if you make an improvement, your team will perform phenomenally better. But now that some time has passed, they're kind of settling back in. I think that period might be over, and now VP have to really kind of figure this out. They have to figure out how they want to play, what their strength as a team is going to be. Because before they were just this hyper aggressive team. But I think they've kind of been figured out a little bit by these teams, and they need to find something else out. They need to find another edge that they can take to get over these other teams.
Exactly, and I mean, like we had mentioned before, the break that was taken by them. I mean, me and Gore talked about it on Cash. You know, we're sort of getting like a little bit of NIP vibes. They were on a break. They ended up losing a lot after they came back from that break, just being unfamiliar. And I'm glad that you mentioned the honeymoon period as well. I mean, VP, once again, super quick rise to the top. And then on top of that, now we're seeing them be knocked down a peg. It could be the fact, Resnick, that literally, like you were saying, these teams could have figured them out or at least have gotten accustomed to them because these changes can be so drastic.
We'll have to see how VP can figure it out. Hands maximum warmth there in the booth. Some people were asking about what they were in there. Some people thought it was hand jars. No, those are little hand warming packets.
Yeah.
It can get cold in the booth. It really depends. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's not, but keeping your hands warm and ready is pretty important. I will tell you, as someone who used to play in a room that had very low insulation in New York winter, playing anything competitive with your hands cold is the worst thing you can possibly do, especially when you have to do anything precise. Envy, they don't care about their hand warmth on the other side. Only VP are ready. Maybe that's gonna lead to them taking the first map. But actually, I believe Envy have the first map pick here too. So
yeah.
VP are going to need any edge they can if they want to be able to flip things around and take map 1 from Envy.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to, like we were saying, it's a matter of who is going to come out on top in this game 1. Who's going to be the ones that are ready? Will it be the hand warmer boys or will it be Team Envy? I mean, it really just matters what their drafts are going to be. Clearly, what the map is going to be, like you're saying, it is Envy's first pick, I believe. So it's going to be they're going to be able to at least shift this first game into something that could be a win, but if they lose, it's going to hurt because then. What's up?
I was going to say, speaking of being warm too, also Envy didn't play today.
That's a good point.
VP did. It can go either way.
Point.
It could have been kind of a long set, and it wasn't super long. 5 games before could be enough to have VP more warmed up for this, and I don't know how good Envy are at bouncing back during the game. They can bounce back once a day has gone between them, once they go home, review with their coach, and figure things out. But mid-game, if they start down, they struggle a lot more than some other teams to get their feet under them and figure out what the answer is going to be. So if VP kind of take that, we already played today, you're coming in completely cold, to turn it, flip it around, start 2-0, I don't know if Envy are going to be able to make that 4-2 comeback.
Right. I mean, VP, that is a good point to make, along with the fact, are they going to be able to use the momentum, even if it was just a little bit, some of it that they had earlier? Once again, they've already played. They know what they want to do, how they want to rectify their mistakes from earlier. Envy haven't done that. So it's going to be really important how this first game is going to go, and we can start off by seeing how that's going to go, by seeing where we won't be going in terms of the maps. And it's going to be Bright Marsh, Serpent Beach, Envy get rid of Bright Marsh, VP get rid of Serpent Beach, and the following ones will be Jaguar Falls and Fishmark. Wow.
That is interesting.
That is very interesting,
Envy choosing to ban Bright and Jag, so no flat maps, nothing kind of weird coming out that way. I found that really. What was the last map I actually missed? Was it Fish?
It was Fish Market.
Yeah, okay. It's Envy, of course.
It's Envy, of course,
Fish Market.
Right.
I got so thrown off by Bright and Jag, I was in the middle of writing it all down, and I was like, wait, what? Oh no. But yeah, so that being gone is kind of big. They don't want to play those maps, and looks like, honestly, VP don't want to play the maps that could potentially go longer. Serpent Beach, strong defensive map. Teams can make that map go long. Fish Market, also kind of easy to defend on that map if you know how to play it. And Envy, of course, know how to play it.
Yeah.
So they both kind of had a specific direction they wanted to take with their bans. right now, though. That means a lot of the wide maps are kind of still open, though. So we still have that Shattered, we still have that Frozen Guard, Ascension Peak, Bazaar. Those maps are also on the table. Clearly, both teams seem to think that it favors them if that's what they're not taking out.
Right. And I mean, once again, we will see some more maps with verticality, like Serpent Beach. I mean, we have a whole slew of maps in that case. Oh, yeah, you're right. They're right. That is gone. I was thinking of something else. But regardless of that fact, we will have a lot more maps with verticality. We'll have that capability to be able to see some of these character
Ice Mine's is still up, too.
Exactly. Ice Mine's being one of those things as well.
And speaking of verticality.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Speaking of verticality, look at where we're starting off. Timber Mill for a Game 1, Map 1. My goodness.
Envy historically have been one of the only teams that really were falling back to that 2 tank on this map. A lot of teams were just like, it's Timber Mill, give me a DPS, kind of situation. But Envy have always been just like, oh, we'll just play our thing, and if you're going wacky, we'll just beat you. We'll just have that better, more sustainable draft on our side, and I think that's kind of become the meta because of them doing that. See where they end up taking this. Standard bans to start.
Yeah.
Envy, their bans usually, I was going to say, their bans usually aren't too wacky, so they're going to ban a power tank. Response from VP is most likely going to be Makoa unless they want to play against it. Makoa's pretty good on this map, but the sidelines are wide enough where you can play against him. There are ways you can kind of deal with him if you want, so could leave it open and then just get 2 really strong DPSs. See where they decide to go. Telki, eyeing the camera, wants us to know that we know he's there. See how Envy decide to start. Makoa is banned, so plenty of DPS open. They could even do a Kinessa first pick. They could do a flanker first pick. A lot of options on Timber Mill.
That's true. You got rid of the Willow, the Atlas, the Makoa, the Strix. You got rid of the power tanks. You've gotten rid of Willow. You've gotten rid of the Strix. But you take yourself your own sniper in the form of Kinessa. And how do you feel about that? How do you feel about this sniper pick on Timber Mill? I mean, we see it on Timber Mill a lot. But it's a matter of, do you feel like it'll be enough pressure? Because we've seen sniper picks be locked in on Timber Mill and lose. That's the point it is that I'm getting at. How do you feel about it now?
I think if any team will know how to play against it, it's VP. They played a full season with Akate having super carry performances on snipers. I think they'll know how to deal with it. Barrack and Genos will be part of that. Now they can flex potentially to 3 DPS. They could still do that double tank style if they want to, maybe with a Nando, maybe with a Khan. Ruckus even. A lot of things still up in the air for them. Envy have some things to think about for sure. A lot of healers are pretty good on this map. Healing at long range. You could do Damba, you could do Ying, you could do Furia. Io even. All of them have the ability to pocket your team across a big distance. And Envy, I really like where they're going with this.
Same.
Getting rid of this Eevee, the most vertical flank. Well, getting it on their side specifically, taking it away from the other side. They have that to be able to pressure whatever backline VP decide to fall back on. And Khan, very sustainable, can lock down a side of the map on his own, and that's really important for keeping people off of your Kinessa.
Right. I mean, and what better map to do that on than Timber Mill? I mean, Kinessa, Eevee, Khan, that's already looking pretty good to me, just like you were saying, Kresnik. And then you have the Barrack Genos that VP have responded with their 2nd and 3rd pick in the draft. Now we're going to see where they're going to go for these next 2 picks. And they're considering some options. I mean, they're talking about it. I mean, it's a matter of what they will try and go for. They probably have a that's not what I was going to say.
My guess would be Maeve, and they would grab their 2nd tank, so probably a Ruckus or an Ashe. Those are my guesses. I think Ruckus maybe could be better. I don't know if it's going to be a locked-in Sky. That would surprise me for sure.
Yeah.
Maeve and Cassie, so they're actually going to leave their off tank as their last pick, not just because they want to change their off tank to what it is, but maybe it might not be an off tank at all. Now they still leave themselves open at triple DPS, and they have what I would say almost positively were the 2 best picks remaining. Envy now, I would say they're going to go with a 2nd. They like 2nd tank here. I wouldn't be shocked if it was just a Nara Damba or a Nara Furia or something like that. Furia maybe to get aggressive onto the backlines if they overextend a little bit.
Damba.
Damba will come in, speed spirits for that Inara, and long range pocket if you hit the shots, and I promise you that Hayes will hit his mending spirits.
Yeah, I mean, I have no doubt about that either. Once again, Maeve, Cassie, that's looking more than good. It's a matter of what VP want to round out for their draft. And I mean, really, they're going to pick their 2nd frontliner. I could imagine it's Ashe. That makes the most sense to me. I mean, you have that. Oh, but Ruckus instead. Okay, tell me why.
This makes sense. It's dive potential, right? They have a way to go in. Ruckus and Maeve can get on somebody if they overextend. Unfortunately, it's going to have to be Damba or Kinessa, and they're going to be on the high ground all the way back. So I honestly think this is on Envy's side unless they misplay. This is going to depend a lot on what Envy we see. I keep talking about that. Envy, very inconsistent. Are we going to see the Envy that's going to keep Rock and Hayes safe the entire game, or are they going to get a little overzealous, thirsty for that third seed, and maybe push their advantage a little too hard?
I mean, game one is the time to do it for sure. I mean, you've got that dive potential, just like you were saying.
What, to get overzealous?
Well, no. Well, I'm saying game one is the game that you would definitely try and make sure you don't get overzealous.
Oh, yeah, that's
what I'm getting at. Yeah. No, I'm not saying to get overzealous.
Like, oh, this is the perfect time to throw, because then you have 4 games to make up for it.
Well, we have the Barrack and we have the Ruckus. Good drafts overall from both teams. Game one, let's throw it down to the casters.
And almost poetically, we are in the last game of the 2019 PPL Split 2. Envy Virtus.Pro 3 and 4 seed, but Gormizer, it might not end that way. Whoever wins is going to take 3rd seed. Map differential, all that out the window. Whoever wins takes 3rd seed.
And right now the head-to-head is favoring Virtus.Pro 2-1. They went 1-1 in the first phase. Right now they've only played once this phase, as luck would have it.
That's right.
Well, Virtus.Pro was able to win that one. They're not quite looking as clean as they did that week when they came through and were able to do so. They have a pretty comfortable draft for themselves. And, you know, Envy, being as consistent as they are, is a pretty comfortable team to go up against. You kind of know what they're going to do, they know what you're going to do, and it just comes down to execution.
I think Virtus.Pro came into today with a 3-map plus-minus lead. After a 4-1 loss to Kanga to start out the day, they are now even on map plus-minus. Envy still holding a 1-win lead, though. So if Envy win, they'll win it the good old-fashioned way with just more wins than Virtus.Pro. Virtus.Pro wins, that means their map plus-minus will be better. That'll be the first tiebreaker for them. That's a long way of saying what I already said, that this one decides 3rd place. Off to a roaring start, RVP, thanks to Vex. A good pick from him. The aggression, control off this left-hand side for Pacheco. Random noob, though, going to put an end to Cassie's tear. 45% in climbing, though, for VP.
Well, they seem to have at least learned a little bit more from their Kanga set. They've been sitting on the point for a good amount of control here, 72%. Soon enough, they're going to have their first volley of, I would say, effective Ultimate Scout is available, but it's not going to be one that's going to crazy change the face of the game, although they are going to throw it out there. CC immunity now for Pacheco, as well as this vision. And if he can stay alive through this onslaught, then he's going to have a good time.
Run down by Rubu, though. Another Pacheco kind of positioning. I wouldn't call it an error, but something Envy's able to capitalize on. Tolkien with the kill onto Erase as well. No more damage dealers for VP. As the battle shouting Rubu storms those front gates. Envy strike first. And even outside of seeding Gore, I think that Envy, a team who got blown out of the water yesterday.
Yeah.
And Virtus.Pro, a team who, granted that first matchup, standings-wise didn't mean too much, got blown out of the water this morning.
Yeah.
They're not going to get to play until 2 weeks from tomorrow. This last game is either we bounce back from a bad game and won, or we lost 2 straight. And mentally, that could affect you.
And for both of these teams, I mean, Envy, you lose to the number 6 seed. Granted, the Knights look really good. You can say the same thing about Kanga. Virtus.Pro, lose to the number 7 seed. Like, it's not a particularly good note to be ending it on. At least with this one, no matter what, you can be like, okay, we lost to the guys right next to us in the standings, but a lot of this is kind of dependent and so far has been very fluctuant on, I'm not even sure if that's a word, but I'm making it, coining it for this.
We know what it means, so maybe it should be. Yeah.
It's fluctuating between these flanks, the flank players. If you look at Pacheco, just now he got a double kill. A little bit before that, he died twice in a row. That was his contribution to the fight. The same thing is going on for Random Noob. I think this matchup might be more stringent on them doing well than anything else to be able to give one team the lead.
I agree. I think that this is a big matchup for Random Noob to kind of push aside yesterday, move forward to today, help his team grab a win. Cruncy so low. He's going to dash his way back around the box, get a little passive healing, not enough. Against the onslaught of Rubu. Rock Monkey with a big snipe as well, 2 for 1 in favor of Envy. This is kind of the hard part of Timber Mill to break through. When you have to fight back through that mid, it's always tough.
Yeah, it's the one thing about it, this map isn't necessarily known for quote-unquote choke points like we have in some of the others. You know, Timber Mill, there's the Archway, same thing for Ascension Peak. This map has some of those, but they're not anywhere near as well defined. A choke point on this map is, can you get past the midpoint? Like, again, if you can get past that, then yeah, you're going to be able to get about 30% more on this push. How do you fare coming around this corner that you see Envy kind of stuck on right now? And then you're in no man's land. You are in a nice wide open payload push. It is sniper central, which is good for Envy with the Kinessa.
That's what they need, is Rock Monkey to be hitting some shots with that long-range damage. Random Noob grabs a kill, also grabs a death, but he finds Vex, which I think could be important here. Cruncy, not only do you not have that Luminary boost, but you don't have any of that healing. I think Rock Monkey maybe thought he had the last shot just a moment ago on Fasheko.
Yeah.
It's okay, though, because he's got a nice double kill onto the other two. They still know that Cassie's behind him.
In all fairness, I also thought he had the last shot on Fasheko. Looking at Fasheko not go down there blows my mind. I mean, that was a crit, and it just goes to show how important it is to charge up your shots.
Red Serpent is going to send a couple running. Toki grabs the kill onto Erase, fighting tooth and nail. Dosip stunned up, Rubu into the back line. That's all Envy need. They burn some ultimates, but they get the point, and I think that's what's important.
And exactly what they needed as well was not just maybe burning some of those ults, but getting Rock Monkey into a good position. Again, this is, on that last 50%, maybe 60% of the push, it is sniper central. It is a nice long line of sight, narrow, well, not even narrow hallway, wide hallway.
Yep.
That is perfect for someone with a scope. But the problem is when you are attacking, so in this case, Envy, you have the sniper, you have to get pretty aggressive with it in order to make it work, and until the payload hits 60-70% pushed, you're not going to be in a good position as a sniper. Them playing aggressive enough, granted it costs Random Noob countless lives to get there, but it opens up the door for Rock Monkey to go 6-1. That's really where that trade-off is. Random Noob has a bad slash line, his hands look like this, so Rock Monkey's slash line can look like that.
I look for Vex. You bring up Rock Monkey. I look for that through time and space, that big Genos ultimate to maybe equalize the high ground there. It's always a healer pocketing that long-range damage dealer up top, so the potential for a two-piece is there. Not going to find either this time. Rock Monkey gets himself out to safety. Rubu, in the meantime, grabs a kill. Overpower. I heard it. Not sure if it connected because it's back to about 50%. If nothing else, he got the kill. Midnight drops down from Erase. Limited sight for Team Envy. Ray's now diving the healer, but enough of Team Envy is there to try to peel. That's 74, 78 and climbing for VP.
We didn't mention him too much earlier, but now he's starting to come into his own. I like the way that Random Noob's kind of flanking around on this. If anything, he's a distraction factor that's helping keep Rock Monkey alive. Hexafire from Cruncy going to be pretty far, pretty wide from the objective, but trying to buy space. It's 89-33. Envy need to play catch-up.
Toki just getting picked away at by Cruncy, down behind him, and he's right beneath Rock Monkey. He doesn't want to take that angle too fully. Fasheko gets the last shots onto Toki. No Inara health pool to contest this point. Maybe Rubu's going to be back in range, but over time, melting away. VP are going to grab their first point of the game.
That's just clean adaptation. I think the one thing they did best throughout that round, well, I guess it's a two-part one thing, but they played around Rock Monkey a lot better. He didn't have anywhere near the line of sight on people that he did the first round. And they pressure him out. There was so much of that time that was just bought because he was distracted trying to stay alive or trying to help the support as opposed to getting damage onto the Barrack or getting damage onto the Ruckus or onto the Cassie. He just wasn't looking down towards the objective. And it left a lot of room there for Virtus.Pro to just kind of move in, make themselves a home.
That's right. The positioning was good from VP. Overpower this time, connects for Rubu. That's going to hold up Dosips. All right, the last damage from the throw is enough to confirm the kill. Cruncy is crippled out there by the Ice Storm, can't dash away. Not to death just yet as Random Noob soars on in. Minute and a half left here. Good defense so far from Team Envy. Right back to the good old mid-fight, so Virtus.Pro have a lot of ground to make up here. Now you're asking, how do we get rid of that Kinessa?
Well, the answer's not going to be Hexafire. Just use that once again. Does help get rid of Rubu, but it's only going to open up so much room. Luckily, Erase comes in, and that's, I think, where a lot of this kind of push is going to be determined, right? It's, well, first off, Erase getting a double kill. Comes in, finds 3 off of that. But it's that working together, there's 4, with the off-tank to make sure things line up like that. The damage from the Ruckus feeds into Erase being able to come in and have that performance.
Alternatively, we could just try to ignore Kinessa at the start, kill everybody else, and then maybe deal with Rock Monkey at the end of it. And
if you need to.
Little A, little B. Dread Serpent up to the high ground for Mr. Hayes just to peel A little bit of that offensive layer back from Virtus.Pro. Tolkien now up to the high ground. Rubu as well. Slither in from Mr. Hayes. Shots are good onto Erase. The mobility from the Mave, not enough to save him there. Gord down to the low ground. 30 seconds left. This is a long map, Gormizer. The respawn timer's maybe 5 seconds. But that walk, that's another 10, 15.
Yeah, it
Vex
takes
is still
a while.
there.
Are
they going to leave?
They're not paying
They're going to leave.
attention to it.
They're going to leave.
Once Rock Monkey
Monkey's
takes
gonna
that
go to the high
teleport,
ground.
which he should catch right there, he sees him up on the top. That's the key. Vex is going to go down.
Mr. Hayes just needs to turn around. He just needs to turn
They just
around.
need
He's
to
not
look
going to see him. And Rock Monkey got the kill. Oh my God. He's
Then
pushing
none
it
of
in. They're
them
getting
notice.
all of the kills as
They're
long
letting
as
them kill him.
nobody. Oh, Mr. Hayes is trying to peel back. He might be able to push it in.
That's
it's too
perfect.
late. What a play. Oh my, from Vex jumps onto the payload. And they steal their second point.
That. Just play it back. That's perfect. There's nothing I can really add to that one.
Oh
that is
my God.
perfectly.
Patience.
And it's that moment. You can see him looking down the line. He just sees that Moldamba, and he is stressed. Like, you know, Vex is just like,
Don't turn around.
just don't look over here. Just anything but looking over here. Don't look up at the top of your screen. And that's the moment. Like, they just get a glance up, and they're like, wait a minute. Someone's on the payload, turns around.
Wow.
Unfortunately for them, it was the only champion on Virtus.Pro that you needed to send 2 bodies with, because 1 body, well, that's just a void grip away.
Grip, yeah.
So really, really well played by Vex. A good call from them, even more so from the rest of VP, to lose the fight. I don't know whether or not they wanted to lose the fight, but losing that fight was better for them as a whole.
Well, the backdoor kings in Envy just backdoored themselves. Virtus.Pro on the board with 2. That's a big swing. That was looking like a good defense from Envy. That could have been 3-1 for them. The chance to win it on a couple more mid-fights. What a play by Vex. We'll look to do the same in a more conventional manner in the rest of this mid-fight. Into a precarious position is Mr. Hayes. Hexafire one more time. That's good for a kill. Big double from Fishy. Battle Shout shrugs off some of that Hexafire damage, and they grab the kill. 72% though, Gormizer. That's the number to look at in Envy, not quite in range.
In the first round, Virtus.Pro played this pretty much like it was any other objective, any other Timber Mill. Since then, they have been doing nothing but getting in the face of Envy.
You can tell there's like an air of confidence all of a sudden from Virtus.Pro.
That's a good shot.
Vex lets it go. Just wide, no kill, but does maybe change some positioning here for Envy. Tolkien not able to get the seismic crash off in time. Random Noob, the last ditch effort, falls short. Virtus.Pro on the back of a miracle play from Vex are able to grab the 3rd point in this game. Now 1 away from grabbing the win.
Being able to push this in. 2-2 is probably my favorite scoreline in the game because of this. Virtus.Pro up for conversion, up for the win. And that's a great way to start the day off against Envy. And Envy, we kind of mentioned it, we saw it yesterday, more emotional team than most of the others, so they are kind of susceptible. If you hit that backdoor, that's going to start affecting them already. If you win the game because of it, then it's going to hit even harder.
Yep.
Dosup's, though, going to go down here. A minute 50 left on the clock. They're buying themselves some time by getting rid of the bear for Virtus.Pro.
And Envy now have to be ever so cautious.
You know every second
Right.
for the rest of the game, they're watching not only the bar, but the payload itself.
Well, it's
They
so
are
easy
not
to
going
forget,
leave
right? I mean, it's so easy. You get a good defense. All right, let's call out our positioning. Let's set ourselves up. Look out for this person here, here, here. And then you start winning the fight. And then suddenly you're like, wait, where's Vex this whole time?
And that's that moment, right? When you start winning the fight, you're not sure. Did we kill everyone?
Yeah.
I think we killed everyone. There's no one here still shooting at us. They must be dead. No one would suspect of any of those champions the healer. Once Maeve and Cassie are gone, even the Ruckus, once they're all dead, you're like, okay, that's fine. We're like, there's no risk. Keep track of Maeve so she doesn't get behind us. Vex, like, healing through walls, one, great thing for Genos there. And also using that kind of third person, the only champion who could do that regularly because of his movement ability, opened that just wide for him to be able to kind of step in, much like the barn doors.
That could set the tone for this game. This is an important defense for Envy. Everyone checking every nook and cranny to make sure nobody is left. This time, all 5 members of Virtus.Pro are back. Nobody to backdoor just yet. Mr. Hayes in a spot where he could stop it anyway. 20 seconds remaining. This is probably the last chance for Virtus.Pro in this round. Envy would tie it up with the defense here. Random Noob just plugging some shots away. Good control over that doorway. Up and over goes Erase into the ice block, though. Random Noob to stay alive in that fight. Dosup's rocket boots 1. Trying to get some healing from Vex. Over the edge goes Fasheko. He's in a bad spot right now, especially if Random Noob can capitalize. She's not. No kills. Onto the board. Erase getting melted down. Rock Monkey finds the final shot. That's the opening kill here as Cruncy falls as well. Dosups gets a kill onto Tulky. Important. Vex up into the Void Grip. He's left alone. Not going to be a backdoor this time. And it is Dosups and Fasheko against all of Envy here, minus a couple of members. Cassie does do a good bit of damage, and they're going to spend the Dome Shield.
And they don't seem like they're ready to fully commit to it, but Scout's coming out as well. They're getting the vision. They think they can hold on to it long enough. Vex is back up. Through time and space available. Hexafire as well. They're getting some good damage on the
could be big. Up and in.
Wow.
Vex hits Rock Monkey. Cruncy grabs the kill as well.
Wow.
Big double for the Ruckus. So much value in the Hexafire. What a game from Virtus.Pro. That's just game 1, but they grabbed themselves the win.
You're looking for a clapback. That's the way to do
my.
it. That was so well executed. There's no reason that should go in. That is done. There's 2 champions left. There's a Cassie and a Barrick, but a great call from Josephs to drop the Dome Shield when he does. You have Khan jumping in, but what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything for them. It gets some good damage on that. Fasheko does well. But the thing, again, that ties it all together, it's Vex. That shot being able to kill off 1, connect, I think, on 2 others on the tank to get them low, it just fed into the Cassie.
I won't speak for Envy, but I know if I'm sitting in those seats now, I am tilted.
Yeah.
You lose a backdoor, and then you have a great defense. Neither of those defenses coming together. What a start from Virtus.Pro, looking to bounce back from their loss this morning. See if that momentum continues right after this.
INAP, powering the control room for the Paladins Premier League.
Welcome back to the Paladins Premier League, guys. Virtus.Pro managed to take their first game on Timber Mill, and one of the rounds in a very unusual style.
I think both of them were kind of unusual. I mean, backcaps just don't really happen that much in this game.
Right.
That one aerial Arise versus I don't remember what team that was against. I think it might have been Flashpoint Aerial Rise. That game aside, in the console league, it doesn't happen that much. It's easy to keep track of people, but sometimes, I mean, there's a lot of chaos going on. VP drafted a kind of chaotic comp, and I understand why Envy could lose track of where Vex was hiding.
Yeah, 90,802 damage from Arrays. I mean, 84K from Cruncy. Fasheko, 151,000. I mean, Dosups even above 80K at that point. I mean, 9 and 12 for Arrays. I mean, literally everyone. I'm saying out all these numbers, but that's just only to illustrate the fact that Virtus.Pro have done well, and they've done better than well. I mean, not only did they win the game, they're just doing great.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Cruncy died a lot in that game, but equal to Arrays. That's how the dive worked, right? At least they both went down at the same time. They found some targets. Wasn't really converting at first for VP, but they made it work. I think that mental game, momentum swing after that back cap was actually pretty huge, and he came up huge other times too. It wasn't just the back cap, although it was a pretty decent part of it. The back cap at the start after that first round, and then it was that through time and space at the end to really secure things for sure.
Dun, 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 dun.
Every time this happens, it's so hard to know. Like, as soon as it goes to OT, obviously there's no hiding it at this point, right? Like, for sure there's no way you can know. You're not checking at this point. You have them all in front. Sometimes you just need that calm of, hey, like, who's behind?
Yeah.
Or is everyone in front, right? Sometimes that can help you out a lot. Also, Hayes had to dash over. There was no way he would have made it. Yeah, maybe he could have saved the slither to make it to the last second, but you just had to use it there. Vex came in clutch multiple times in a row, so fantastic for him on that Genos. Not the first time we've seen him have highlight plays on it, and he knows we're highlighting him.
What's thanks, man. Mom, I love you. That's
you thought he was saying fawn?
Yeah, I did.
Come on, man.
I mean, come on, dude. I mean, he knows we're highlighting him. He does. I mean, who doesn't?
There's no. We're not gonna go down that rabbit hole because it's going to be a very long conversation, I believe. Even after winning that map, now we're going to VP's pick. Always the best feeling, taking the enemy's map and then just immediately getting the luxury of choosing your own. With the kind of standard maps all banned, I don't know where they're gonna want to go. I would say maybe Ice Mines, but that to me kind of screams like an Envy map. Ascension Peak could potentially be a good choice for them. I know they do like playing on that map. It did come up earlier in the set against Kanga, but I think against Envy it could be a better pick for them. We know that VP kind of have been Envy's kryptonite almost in the past when they had just that Fishigo versus random matchup. I think really does swing things in the side of VP.
Right, yeah, I agree with that too. I mean, it's a matter of if they're going to try and pick that Ice Mine second, though. I mean, they could very, very well. I mean, they could end up picking it, but do you really want to? Because a lot of people use that map to try and slow the pace down. Do you feel like it's still like that will be a good map pick for him still?
Slowing the pace down, it depends. After that win, I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah.
So I think maybe just having some speed. I think Ascension can be a map that they would want to go to like keep things sped up in general. It is going to be Stone Keep instead, and this map can snowball. It can be kind of difficult to push, but having the right composition can make it very easy as long as you have that AoE pressure that you can put up top and knock people down from that railing to not let them contest you, not let them contest the objective, or stop you from moving up there at all.
Yeah, I mean, once again, we'll have to see what VP want to start off their bans with. It is a matter of who they're going to ban first. I mean, I'm sure Willow will pop up unless VP are trying to ban it. They're going to go for the Strix first. Doesn't mean that Willow's going to be let through. Exactly why I mentioned that. Envy are going to follow that up, and then potentially, if it's the same stuff we've been seeing, it's going to be the Strix, the Willow, Alice McCoy.
Again, I don't know if I guess the first pick you kind of want to do it at this point.
Right.
Want to get rid of that power tank unless you're willing to let them both go through. VP clearly thinking about it. Some options on the table for them. Decent amount of things you can play on Stone Keep. I know. In terms of blasters, there's some maps where maybe you don't want BK, but this is a map where he can have a decent amount of success, able to push that upper area really easily, and very effective in Keep if you think the enemy is going to draft that Keep composition. But they go safe, ban Makoa instead, Atlas responds, and VP have a couple things they can do. Barrick, Khan. Okay.
Yeah.
The Khan, right? When I said Khan, that's perfect for that. And Envy can immediately respond with Barrick Genos. It was just super successful for the other side. They want it in their own pocket.
Right. And also very, very good characters to start off your draft with as well. Khan first, Envy, Barrick, Genos second, and third. Now VP are going to try and continue to round out their draft, try and see what they want to pick, considering all their options here. And of course, I'm assuming that they could try and go for the hit scan early if they really wanted to. They could go for the Cassie. They could potentially go for the healer. Oh, yeah. Well, there we go.
I was going to say there's so much open. They could go just like Inara and support and just lock down the point tank in that. But getting Inara and Cassie or Cassie and support I think helps a lot too. Envy probably won't go Inara Barrick with only a Genos healer at the moment. So they're going to grab Grover. They're going to grab that Cassie with the support there. Grover's very good at playing outside. Grover's going to be very good at holding your team in church, keeping everyone alive, while also poking into the windows or the doorways. They're not really windows. They feel like windows. The doorways on the keep side to keep that damage up, lock down them so they can not really let Envy do anything for free. They're not going to be able to get away with much of anything without taking at least 600 plus damage from an axe or an arrow or anything.
Yeah, I mean, Khan, Cassie, Grover, you've got a situation where you can pretty much group up and stay healed. Grover with the healing through walls and, of course, the whirlwind to be able to keep everyone alive. And, well, Maeve, Bomb King could be what Envy are responding with. That means that they're going to have control over Keep. That means that they probably won't try and fight for that. VP might try and fight for Church. And I believe that's that in terms of what they're picking.
The Maeve will play outside, but...
Well, yeah, sorry.
The Maeve might go and Keep to poke from outside, but Maeve will probably play outside just to counter poke the enemy team. Bomb King very good at locking down that Keep area. So maybe we can even like trap the doors, like just put like 5 stickies outside the door.
You'll all see it my way.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Yeah,
I got you.
Maeve.
it's a decent option there, and Now that Midnight will also be able to hold back on the scout,
right,
not letting it happen early, so Envy have multiple options. If they want to do like a weird flank play in Church or just hold down keep hard, they'll be able to, because Cassie won't be able to just throw that scout out for free.
Con, Cassie, Grover, Barrack, Genos, Maeve, Bomb King. I mean, so far, I'm a fan of Envy's. I mean, that Midnight can force a lot of things out. It can force that scout, but scout's going to be safe as a counter for it, as it always is. You have Whirlwind available. You have the Overpower. I mean, you have a lot of tools that can get you a lot of picks, and Cassie has that big game ability as well, so she's going to be able to pretty much melt these tanks. But VP missing really another tank and another DPS. Who do you think it could be?
They're going to need something flexible, potentially for a Fish. It's going to be a Nara for sure on the tank line, not just because they're hovering it, but maybe Eevee or something like that, or Pip.
Oh, Pip, okay.
Pip's a pretty decent selection as well. That's a lot of sustain on the side of Virtus.Pro, and that ultimate Evil Mojo, so strong.
Let's make this interesting.
If your team can follow up on it, and a team that's going to want to go in like VP will, they will always be there in position to clean up on that. And this would be very interesting. It would also give a little bit of backing to what Metapusher's been saying, how he thinks that Torvald is still a pick. It just needs the right place. Is this the right place for it? That's the real question. I don't know about it against Grover Pip. I feel like the healing that they have will kind of negate the bonus damage, and once they get to late game, Torvald falls off dramatically. The Wrecker just denying every ounce of value that he would get otherwise from it. And they agree.
Ruckus,
Ruckus is going to be the pick instead. Not the Ashe, because the Ashe kind of gets manhandled a little bit too much by the Con. Have this Ruckus to be able to get a little bit more aggressive with this Maeve and find picks in the back.
Barrett, Genos, Maeve, Bomb King. What could have been Tor just ends up being rounded out to be Ruckus, which is going to be their final pick for Team Envy. Pip is the final pick for VP. Of course, the age-old question, whose draft do you like more in this case?
I got to say VP right now, I think. I think they have a really solid draft for playing outside. The dive potential is there from Envy from up top, but they're going to need to find a target. And I think VP have enough burst to sustain where they're not going to give that to Envy much at all.
Right. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, the Ruckus can be able to have his flanks. I mean, same thing for the Maeve. They'll be able to apply that pressure on those sides and also be able to control keep with that Bomb King. I mean, you've got the Genos for the Luminary buff. You've got a few tools. But VP, I mean, their sustainability is hard to argue against.
Yeah, I don't think you really can, especially early game. If this game ends quickly, I think this is going to be a VP very quick game.
Yeah, we'll have to see if it is going to be a VP quick game. Game 2 is on its way.
Envy need to grab themselves some time to build up those cauterizes, limit some of the healing that Virtus.Pro will be able to do between Grover as well as, you know, maybe some Con battle shout. Pip has some healing as well. Nothing to scoff at there.
Yeah.
But this game ends quickly, which it could have the potential to for VP. It's going to be a tough one for Envy. I love the pivot to the Bomb King for Envy. I think that's a great pick for Random Noob. I also like the pivot to Catalyst Pip for Virtus.Pro. You know, it's not necessarily a team. Fasheko really is not necessarily a player who we commonly link to the Pip.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see how it all plays out.
And it's one of those things, I actually think both of these teams have done this today. Bomb King specifically is where my mind goes to. That both Random Noob and Fasheko played an EV game, maybe didn't have the best EV game. Immediately we're like, okay, comfort, go into the Bomb King. Something that it feels like home, plays well on the map. And with a Luminary boost behind him, again, it's so dangerous. Part of the reason that you were able to win a game earlier if you're Virtus.Pro was the Luminary Bomb King. This time around, not off to a good start for Random Noob.
Fasheko, Erase both combine, and Doseps as well gets in on the action. Everyone from Virtus.Pro getting involved. Now they're zoning out. They've been fighting from the point this whole time. 63% Fasheko thinking about trying to jump up over the ledge there. Unable to do so. Now it's just a zone. Can you get the dismounts? They do. 90%. Envy looking to get in range. The dismount not yet onto Rubu, so he's going to be able to move forward, but Erase finds a kill.
And that's going to be the biggest thing. 4v5 coming into this. Tulki's already half health or lower. Rubu does get rid of Erase, so he's doing good work in the back, but it's 99% with overtime ticking down.
Now that Tulki goes down, you have to send in that Ruckus, but not enough health there. Starts off with the flash for Virtus.Pro, ends with a bit of a fizzle for Team Envy. They strike first. This is maybe what we expect, though, Gore, early on in this game, this sustained heavy comp winning out.
Honestly, I'm not sure Envy have what it takes to push this long game. And honestly, even the longer it goes, you still have really good Evil Mojos. Granted, Resilience can help deal with that. Whirlwind starts to fall off, but Khan's damage overpowers come into it. Big Game Cassie's still going to be hitting hard, just as hard, if not harder. And I feel like the only thing that doesn't age quite as well with time is going to be the Grover, but there's the Whirlwind to showcase why he's good right now.
And it's aging right now. You're right. Here and now, that Whirlwind is paying off in dividends for Virtus.Pro. Tolki, the last to go down. Vex with a double. Pip with a double for Fasheko as well. Now the respawns are in from Envy. Payload moving quickly. You're going to be able to get it back from underneath this archway, and you might have one more chance to defend.
They grab Random Noob. I think Random Noob might be their biggest threat throughout this game, and I love that they are committing just pretty much everything to shutting him down. They are just not letting this Bomb King come out. King Bomb's available, and it sounds like he might want to use it, but he's just dead to rights.
Dome Shield has to be used. Good daggers from Rock Monkey to get Crunchy, so now the frontliners from Virtus.Pro are down. You're going to see a bit of a peel backwards from them, with only some damage dealers left in their pocket. An Evil Mojo ready for Fasheko, who is at 306. Only a couple of kills for Team Envy. The damage dealers are getting it done.
Random Noob's 0-4-0. Hasn't even been able to get part of an assist on this.
Is that just an accident of bullets? Ow!
The 10 streak for Fasheko. Finally ended there by Rubu. Able to get aggressive. Doesn't trade his life out for it quite yet, although he's definitely not in a good spot for this.
Watch out for Erase. King Bomb as well from Random Noob is going to roll on through. Going to get the stun on a Crunchy. Should be a kill, but no!
Wow.
The Whirlwind just in time saves his life. Erase off map. Does end up dying. Big loss for Virtus.Pro, but they're able to trade back with one onto Rock Monkey. Now Rubu into the back line of Virtus.Pro. The sustain is there. Battle Shout trying to top off Vex, but not enough. This looks like a good defense from Envy. Not enough sustain maybe to win this fight, but he raised back in, gets the kill. Evil Mojo could be a big difference maker here, as Tolki chooses to backpedal and go back up the stairs.
Gonna have to find a way to kill him off right now, and well, they're gonna be able to do so. Erase with a long shot. They're gonna go into overtime. They're still looking to close this out, but they lose Dosups in the process.
That's an important kill for Random Noob. Erase has the scout as well. Not super impactful. Evil Mojo locks up two. They get 2 kills. The big Poppy Bomb out of the pit for Random Noob. All of the kills are blue. All of the points are blue. And these last-minute wins from Virtus.Pro. Unbelievable.
And they're great timed calls, right? It's pretty much just what you expect. Out of the Knights, similarly yesterday, where it's like, the fight looks over. The fight looks done and dusted. Envy at least get a defense, right? No, they won't even let them have that. Someone makes the call to go in. Someone on VP kind of still sees through this cloud and is able to get in there. Right now it's Fasheko, 6-1-11. 5-1-13 though. Vex is the engine keeping this team running. So much of that last play, I mean, jumping down for a Whirlwind, steps back, gets collapsed on by Random Noob, jumps over him using the Vine. Like, so much movement, mobility, and survivability coming down from Vex. Granted, Cauterized 2's gonna make it a lot harder. 4 of them online for Envy, but it's still big overall from this group.
Mr. Hayes throws out through time and space, but all it does is lock him in place for Erase to capitalize from down here with some good damage. Hexifier goes searching for Team Envy, but Tolki is able to grab the kill. All up on the high ground. You're gonna have to engage at some point here if you're Envy, and you're missing a lot of maybe some key ultimates. Midnight maybe into the King Bomb to start it off, but 72%. Vex this time not able to get that Whirlwind off.
And it did consume his ult, didn't heal anybody, so it's going to hurt him a little longer. Luckily, they've got, well, a couple sources of healing, so they're not going to be too stressed about it as Fasheko is keeping himself and Dosups alive. They put some pressure down onto the objective.
Tolki has to rocket boots out, 72% to 58. Envy still King Bomb and Midnight. Those could be the difference makers, and the Dome Shield just came up as well. Envy in a great spot, using everything here. King Bomb rolling through. Crunchy, bad time to Commander's grab right into Random Noob. Midnight expires, so does the King Bomb, but they're 1 kill better off. Where Fasheko, though, finds the kill on a Mr. Hayes, traded out immediately with the healer for Virtus.Pro. It's a 2-for-1 trade. Dosups gets melted down by Random Noob, who's in a good spot. Dome Shield bought some time for Tolki. It looks like Envy are going to weather this storm and grab point number 1.
All right, now it's going to go into overtime. Crunchy's here.
I say that.
The question is, how much can he do? I mean, there's still a Bomb King around here. That one of the natural counters to Khan going to deal with him pretty easily.
All right, good. Sorry, I meant to cut you off. I was very nervous that there was a miracle play incoming.
Through. The biggest thing for that round, at least for me, from what I can tell, Envy are night and day specifically on this screen. Random Noob had such a better round the second time around than he was able to throughout that first pretty much entirety of the mid-fight into the push. He finally started coming together towards the end. I think he ended this round, or started this round, I should say, at 3-6. So he's continuing that route right now. 6th streak finally getting kind of snuffed out for him. But he's skyrocketed to the top of the damage charts. He was 3-6, now he's 7-7. A 4-1 round for him is huge to swing things over in their favor. But that needs to keep up, right? It can't just be during that mid-fight. It can't be the isolated incident. He has to do it again.
Well, it's kind of been the flip, right, for Erase and Pacheco, where at 8-3-9 and 10-2-11, the damage dealers from Virtus.Pro getting the job done. Vex, I think, is absolutely having a stunner of a set up to this point as well. Only 2 games in, but things looking good nonetheless for him. Save maybe that whirlwind in the mid-fight. But a good defensive start from Virtus.Pro. As Rubu is going to get the payload moving, not quite a backdoor. They know he's there, but at least just to get his team in a better spot.
And they're collapsing in pretty quickly on it. I mean, they let it go a little bit there for NV, but for VP.
Right.
But I think they were willing to. I mean, like you said, they knew he was there. It wasn't necessarily a backdoor so much as it was do we need to focus on him?
Good.
No, we don't. But he gets in a good position. He gets a good Hexafire.
He does get the kill and some plug damage, able to get healed up, though, as the rest of Virtus.Pro. Now you have to make sure you're not trading out too horribly if you're Envy to keep yourself in this one. It's a 2-0. Make it 3 now as Tolki gets the kill onto Cruncy. 30 seconds left. Payload moving forward. 5 ults strong for VP.
You're starting to feel the effects. Envy have full-on invested into that Cauterize 3, and you can start to see that this is what they're going for as of right now. Even if it's only caught 2, it's effective enough to keep things rolling for them, and you can see the healing not quite hitting as hard as it was during the early round. This Whirlwind not going to be quite as strong. That gap between the 2 supports is going to close out, and it's going to come down to the Pip and the Khan, I think, to make up the difference.
Agreed. And, might not do as much healing, but still doing some good damage there was Vex to give Virtus.Pro their 3rd point, their first defense of the round. A game to win here. This is, this is where you start to get into, it's only game 2, but you start to get into that momentum conversation where you maybe steal one away on Timber Mill, and now you're kind of running away with it on Stone Keep. And you're going to have to figure something out if they end up falling in this one, but still a game to win potentially for them here. With a few ultimates online, Midnight will be ready. No Hexafire, but VP, they are 5 ultimates strong going into this mid.
I think that's one of the biggest threats overall. NV are going to have to be very smart with these 3. Mr. Hayes last round got locked out because of his through time and space. Left him pretty much wide open. Cauterize 3's online. They've even got some resiliences to help deal with the Evil Mojo. A lot of good counter building here from Envy.
Nice.
We'll have to see how it helps.
Wow, the peel for Erase is huge. They saw the flank coming, overpowered, Evil Mojo expended, but they don't get the kill from the overpower. Rubu lives on until Erase turns around and finishes off the kill. Now Rock Monkey solo as well. Erase got dove, Erase stays alive, Erase gets a double, and he's going to continue tearing through the Envy lineup until Random Noob from that high ground is able to answer back with a kill.
There's so much that's going to continue going on, but I just want to pause, rewind for a second. That Whirlwind from Vex did nothing in terms of healing, and they still live through that engagement. There's no reason for them to do so other than the fact that they just position really well, and you have Envy maybe not quite clicking down for him. The gap actually widening here as Vex, even though the Cauterize is hurting him, still able to kind of take the lead with the support play.
This might just be it, Goremeister. Pacheco gets a double kill, able to get traded out by Rock Monkey, but everything off of the table here. Tolki has to stay alive. He does not 90%. His respawn won't be in time. Now you're sending the squishies to the point if you're Team Envy, and that's no good. One more dismount onto Rubu might just seal up this game. The dash is in time to get the overtime touch. But as long as you're Virtus.Pro and can just trade out effectively, you're going to find yourself a win. One more overtime, but it's going to start going real fast, real soon. Whirlwind just to top off the health bars and maybe end this game for VP. One last overtime, one more point. VP get win number 2.
I think at that point, Pacheco, everybody else is just kind of like anybody else. Anybody left on Envy to touch this objective. At the end of the day, the answer was no. Very well played from them, very resilient. Again, Cauterize hurt them badly.
Yeah.
There was virtually no healing from Vex during some portions of that final fight. It did not affect them, and that's even more impressive.
Yeah.
The fact that they were able to play around something like that, as big as it could be. Hey, your ult just means nothing now? And he's still able to come through and have such a big performance. A lot of VP just meshing well together.
I agree.
Whatever was going wrong in the first set they played today is not going wrong here against Envy.
And I think you could see maybe what Envy were trying to do at the end there. They sent a couple to try to dive onto Erase, kind of in that banana-shaped walkway.
Yeah.
Immediately peeled out. They get 2 kills to start it off. So even if the Whirlwind's lackluster, you're at a 5v3 advantage nonetheless. Virtus.Pro roll themselves to a win here in Game 2. Might just run away with it, but we'll have to find out right after this.
The Paladins Premier League is brought to you by Evil Mojo, developers of Paladins.
I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. For the record, 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 for the record. Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price for y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. A6 all the hate. I won't get a ball today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the bars, I'm flipping the on record, off record. I still count wins when they got it. On record, off record. I let them take advantage. I was wildin'. On record, off record deals. Tell them talk to Colin for the quote. On record, off record. I still want the act, not the ghost.
Welcome back, guys, to the PPL. Stonekeep is already said and done because VP take their second game over Team Envy. And the Pip being drafted on Stonekeep, Kresnik, it's a little bit, to me, it seems out of the norm, but maybe that's just because I haven't been here as long as some of the others. But I've seen Drogovs here. I've seen a few others here. But Pip is not necessarily who I think when I think of Stonekeep.
Any map with high ground, low ground is going to be playable for Pip, being able to spam down almost Willow-esque, which is why any map that Willow's good on, Pip is less good on, but still absolutely playable. And I think Fish had a very strong performance. A lot of healing, actually, at least in terms of for the individual targets coming out from them, too. I think the potions are coming in at a very good time. Vex, very solid in the healing charts as well. And also actually out-damaging Doe while putting out that many healing. Oh my god. Tulky going 3 down to the other side. I think the cripple from the Grover makes things a little bit harder for the Barrack to sustain there. Fishiko, though, even with that lower damage than Erase, 16 and 6.
My goodness,
31 kills across the board for both DPSs in that game. That wasn't that short.
Yeah, can you ask from a better game from him? I mean, 16-6.
Well, I could ask him to go 37-0, but
that's
realistically,
true.
That's not going to happen.
Right, that's true. But at the same time, I mean, he ended up putting out so much damage, so much pressure. This was such a good Evil Mojo, too. I mean, it was a long point fight. The overtime was going to go down, and the payload was about to push in. I mean, you had to use some of those ultimates, and it had such high value with it, too, along with just this pick. I mean, this Pip worked out so well for them, and that movement, too, was absolutely amazing.
The dive potential that we see from the Pip is great, and also the ability to turn a fight. That last fight we saw was so... Who knew what was going to happen with it, right? Like, it could have gone either way. Teams were committing ultimates. But the impact of your ultimates, when they're just better, it'll just win you games. Evil Mojo. Flipping that around, just deleting the health bars that were contesting the point. I just love watching Vex taunting on the point while Rock went down behind him. A little bit of the mental game still going in VP's favor, I think. Envy had some plays that were together, but all in all, I feel like they're a little discombobulated right now.
Right, I feel that too. I mean, already up 2-0 against VP. I mean, it's definitely, you have to have the mental fortitude to be able to keep trucking on even after some of these very, very rough losses. And I mean, they have plenty of time to think about it because there's only 2 games already done. We'll have to see where we're going to go for game 3, or at least map 3, I should say. And it's going to be Frog Isle.
Interesting. By Envy, this is their choice after losing another sniper-centric map while they had the sniper and the other team didn't. Frog, of course, very different from Timber Mill. Very tank-centric, I think, in terms of the control that you can gain on the map. Triple DPS can work, but not really seeing too much. It definitely, you have to be much better than the other team, I think, to have it pay off the right way. See how the bans start. I'm going to assume there's no way you don't. I mean, on first pick, they could just ban Willow, and then I'm assuming VP will just respond with a Strix ban. But Willow's good on this map, but maybe not ban-worthy. Envy could go another direction, seeing how they decide to do it, but it will be Willow, which means almost positively a Strix response, I think, from VP.
Yeah, Willow is going to be picked on Envy's side. Well, not picked. Whoa. I just had
picked
mental boom right there. Yeah, I just got mental boom right there. Envy is going to get rid of the Willow on their side. VP are going to ban the Strix in response. Willow Strix, I mean, they're good bans. They make plenty of sense, but every single time they've just been banned out like first on either team. They really don't want to let either team have that, honestly.
And it makes sense because it really does give carry potential. Willow is carry potential to your flex DPS. Strix is carry potential to your direct damage. Having that, there's still other characters they can carry with, but those are clearly the most influential in the game, so might as well get rid of it against the DPSs that are as skilled as these are. I'm assuming power tanks are going to follow up for Envy or VP unless they have a specific strategy against them, but Atlas is very good on this map. Makoa is very good on this map. It's kind of tough to justify playing against them, but it seems like Envy might have already made that justification with the Cassie ban.
Yeah, that is going to be who they get rid of. Now, VP are in a little bit of a conundrum. Who do you let them have?
All right, here we go. Ready? Ban Makoa. Envy first picks Atlas.
Okay.
Get Barrack Victor.
Okay.
That's
I'll hold you to that,
that's my gameplay. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying that's what I would do.
No, that's okay. I'm holding you to it at this point. Banning in 5 seconds. We'll have to see
There's
with
still
the
bank time they could go into. I don't know what you're going to hold me to, but well, I guess we'll figure it out. See what the response is going to be. It could be. I think getting rid of Makoa with Cassie off the table is big because you don't want to play against a big game counterless Makoa. It just does too much. But they want to leave both open. This way, I mean, this way they have more flexibility. Now Envy have to make a choice of which one do I end up with. If they go Atlas, VP can still take the counter. If they go Makoa, they can get Atlas and the counter on the other side. So plenty of options up. They're actually they might even bypass the Victor now and just pick up that Barrack on the other side, considering that NR has already been banned.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that's going to be the case. I mean, I know Envy's going to get one of the power tanks at least, whether it be Makoa, whether it be Atlas. They are the ones that currently have this pick, and they're considering it pretty heavily. I mean, they're using up some of their bank time to really just try and weigh these options. Who do we go for? And it's going to be the Atlas pick for them.
Which means almost certainly a Makoa Barrack response by VP. Barrack could have been the starter pick by Envy, but I don't think anybody wants to play into Makoa Atlas for sure. We saw it happen in the PML because of a Cassie first pick. I'm still laughing at how ridiculous that draft was. I can't believe that happened. I'm happy that they lost, because if they didn't, if they won with a Cassie first pick over Makoa Atlas, I would have had to reconsider my entire worldview. Colors might actually have shifted in my eyes. My brain might just perceive things differently at that point. But Makoa Barrack, as I said, will be the response pick by VP. If I'm Envy, I can still take Kineza here. I can still take Victor. There's a couple things still up on the table.
Yeah, I mean, Barrack, Makoa, Atlas, 3 characters, all of them front lines being picked. The Khan is being hovered for Envy. Who will they try and go for next? I mean, they could go for their healer. They could go for their DPS.
Io.
I mean, okay.
Well, I think it would be good because you don't have a point tank.
Right. I mean, yeah, that makes the most sense, too. I mean, you don't really have anyone that can stand on the point between them. I mean, what's Alex going to do? He's going to stand on point, put down divider, and then once it's gone.
If it's going to be anyone, it's going to be Khan. Like, if one of them had to do it, it's going to be Tulki on the Khan. I'm almost positive, pressuring in the main lane where the choke point is. But I don't know. I think having Luna and being able to get aggressive would change things a lot, especially since you can counter pressure the Makoa. They can still grab Io. They grab Kinessa instead. She is the last sniper left, and Rock Monkey, even with that loss, I think had a pretty solid performance on Timber Mill.
And Khan, once again, still being hovered. Ink time is trickling away for Team Envy. And Khan is who they are going to consider entirely. Atlas, Kinessa, Khan. Now it's VP's turn to try and pick some champions and see how they want to round out their composition as well. Barrack, Makoa, they've got both of their frontliners, so they have some pretty big flexibility in terms of what they can want to go last. It's going to be the Furia. They're going to have that Inflame at their backs, the burst healing as well, or at least the Eevee. Still doesn't mean they can't pick Furia. But, okay, well, they're going to go for both of their damages this go around. They're going to go for the Eevee, the Mave. How do you feel about that, Kresna? How do you feel about the double flank?
This day's been long. Was the Eevee Mave picked yesterday or today? Was that game 1 where they picked Eevee Mave today, or was that yesterday? I actually can't remember.
Yesterday?
Game 1 feels like yesterday. I'm going to be on. Not Game 1 this set, but like set 1 today kind of feels like yesterday. Not sure if that was how they did it, but I mean, that was played into triple tank last time. EV Mave could be pretty good. This is kind of their way of choking out Random Noob, because realistically, what does Random play now that will be able to be mobile? They might have to pull out a Buck.
Yeah.
Or they could pull out the third tank.
It's going to be IO. There you go.
IO. I was right about the IO,
right.
but I wasn't expecting it to be paired with 3 tanks. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, that definitely sort of thins her healing ability. I mean, especially with Goddess Blessing,
that's a big
because
deal.
she literally just the point of that talent is that it's really good. You give the movement speed with the cards, everything, yada yada yada, but it's a pocket ability. She can only really focus a few of those tanks at a time, and that's going to make it hard, especially when you have the aggression that you have with Team Envy's composition. Like, that's going to be difficult for them to pull through, but I believe they can still do it.
It's possible. We'll have to see what VP's final pick is going to be. I mean, it's going to be a healer. That much is obvious, but which one will it be? There could be Damba. There isn't. Not too much CC on their side, so Damba, the fear will kind of slow people down on the aggression, not let them get away with the plus forwarding that I think that Envy's going to be doing. It will be Damba. That fear and that stun are going to come in handy to stop the all-out aggression that I'm sure Envy are going to want to do. I don't know if I would really give an edge to a Team Envy that's playing with all-out aggression, but I can't really argue with the success of triple tank so far today. This is going to be kind of a big game for Random in my eyes, because I'm assuming he's not on the Kinessa. I'm assuming it's going to be Random flexing to a tank. That's something we don't really see too much. How well can he perform on that tank? How much space can he make for Envy to be able to go in?
Right, and that's a very, very big question, of course. I mean, you got the IO to be able, once again, we've seen it be brought out today. We saw Triple Tank also be brought out today, where they just sit Luna on point. They try and make up for, you know, the point capture that Luna could actually give with the aggression, being able to pressure those characters and those players. VP versus Envy, guys. Frog Isle, Game 3. Let's go.
That's right, Virtus.Pro looking for win number 3 on Frog Isle. Envy need to get something going here. Gore, I think if they lose this one, this set may just be all over. If Virtus.Pro are able to get another win here, it may just be too tough of a hill to climb for Envy. Can never count them out, but it definitely diminishes, I think, the percentages there.
Yeah, it's one of those, well, statistics that's just fun to throw out. There's been one full reverse sweep all year. And these teams have played each other twice throughout all year. It's 56 sets total. This is set number 56.
That's right.
And so, well, 1 out of 56, potentially 2 out of 56 if this goes Virtus.Pro's way and then Envy are able to turn it around. But statistically, things don't happen like that. This is one of their last moments to find a true stand. A lot of it, I think, is going to be pressure onto Rock Monkey. Well, they're already applying pressure to Rock Monkey.
Yeah, wow. The dive is there from Virtus.Pro. The Mave and the Eevee immediately into the backline. Not enough peel. I mean, Virtus.Pro, they're fighting forward from the point. Nobody getting the percentage just yet. Now somebody's gone back. Look at Gruncy. He is still on a tear through Envy's base. Big hook. But now he tries to disengage.
Someone should give Cruncy a memo that they're fighting over the point right now. Like, he is in their
the
base right now. And he is causing as much trouble as he possibly can. Eevee in a nice block, really low, going to get taken down. So they're going to deal with Fisheko the good old-fashioned way. And that should open up a point for Tulky to be able to come in at least touch to get overtime. It's 87-0.
It's close. Virtus.Pro don't need to feel too pressured to maybe not step off the point really quick if they need to. They have plenty of time. They get a kill onto the first frontliner. Rubu is very low as well into the second chance. Only gets him about halfway there. And the triple frontline composition from Team Envy goes searching for a point.
Well, if you want to look at it this way, Kanga ran a lot of IO, did really well against Virtus.Pro. But that is more reason for them to be able to beat it now. They've gone against it so much today alone. They're not going to be looking forward to dealing with it, or they've been able to deal with it pretty accurately so far, getting to the back. Pretty much causing trouble for Mr. Hayes from top to bottom. Ray's finally taken down there, so someone can stay alive for the team, but Envy more or less locked in their base.
I was going to say, Rock Monkey, the poor guy, is trying to figure out where to play right now, and he does end up leaving base, getting to the back line. Rubu drives home a couple of kills set up by that Kinessa, trading for top damage with the Barrack of Virtus.Pro. Minute and a half left, though, Gore. Plenty of time, especially with an Ancient Rage.
Well, then he's staying just as aggressive as he was before, going for, name it, Mr. Hayes on the IO. and he is okay with that trade. Gets rid of him, but does lose Erase in the process. Might start changing the kind of tone Virtus.Pro are going for. This all-out aggression worked out really well to begin with, and admittedly it's still keeping this payload moving.
The Exile locked up Fasheko, but Toki too low thanks to that Ice Storm from Fasheko. Dosups gets the kill. Random Noob back into the fight with a big Hexafire, helps his team stay in it. Midnight not used by Erase, still back on cooldown. Pirate Shanty though. Maybe drapes over Frog Isle here in just a minute. 50 seconds left. Staggered out are Envy, but staying in the fight on defense. Prunty, big hook, no second chance. But a big setback, and Erase gets the kill onto Rubugor. 40 seconds left. These are going back and forth.
I mean, a couple of good shots here. Could get rid of this barrack, but he's so survivable. The healing station's so nice. Tolki coming up big when he needs to. That's going to open up the door, I believe, for Rockland to put his name on the board.
That's what they needed right there. Big team wipe. 4 members now on streaks for Team Envy. Finally, a breath of life here on Frog Isle. They're going to put Luna back on the point to just get it moving backwards a little bit slowly. They're going to be able to push themselves forward. Good space here for them to try to absorb some of that pressure. This is a very winnable defense for Envy.
It's going to contest. If Fasheko goes to the back, you're going to be able to touch, get overtime, but it's contesting. He's not actually going to be able to time that one right.
He is confused.
I will admit, I am with him on that one.
I'm on the same page, but defense successful nonetheless for Team Envy. Get themselves on the board on Frog Isle. You figure out that mid-fight, though. Mid-fight wasn't there, and that defense almost wasn't there for Team Envy.
Trying to figure out the overtime, or lack thereof there, more than anything. But at the end of the day, game calls it, I don't, so no overtime.
Right.
And I don't want to say I'm calling this too soon, or I think I'm calling this too soon. Atlas feels kind of like he's getting handled a little bit more lately. When he's getting let through, I mean, forget that Phoenix game. If you gloss over that one, a lot of these other games, it feels like he's under lock a little bit more than he used to be. I feel like teams have been, letting him through in scrims, figuring out how to deal with him a little better. And because of that, it's maybe opening up the conversation of, is he worth banning?
Right.
If not, or if so, I guess, then keep doing it. But I think, in comparison to Makoa, you might still have a little bit more of a lead from the Makoa.
It's got to be like situationally dependent. I mean, you
sure.
are either going to pick or ban away an Atlas from like Na'Vi or something along those lines. You definitely don't want Phoenix piloting. So you can see what he does. In the meantime, though, Team Envy have bought some space for themselves on the point. Luna doing the capping duties. Midnight from Virtus.Pro to maybe try to re-engage. Dread Serpent as well. From Vex is going to grab a kill onto Rubu. One more death for that Atlas. 78% for Envy is where they're going to stop. And now Virtus.Pro get their chance to start to climb. Rock Monkey deep in the backline, killed by Dosups. Ice Storm forces the battle shout out from Toki. Dosups very deep with a dome shield in the Envy base.
Not only being able to get the dome shield out that far, Ancient Rage just as far, looking for a kill, finds the kill. And they took this back. It was 78 pretty much to nothing. Now it's 93 to 78.
I am sad if I'm Rubu. I die, come back into the game, die to an Ancient Rage right outside of my base. What a play from Virtus.Pro. They see the moment. They see the moment where they can leave one back and send everyone else forward. Close moments there for Random Noob. And they just choke out Envy on the mid fight. Now a good chance to maybe push this one in. Big Hexafire from Random Noob, but no kills.
I don't know that I've ever seen Random Noob playing Ruckus. That just registered with me. I'm not sure I have ever seen that as a combination. There's so many other R names, well, only one other R name that I've seen on that, and it's been Rubu for this team. And it's a very odd scenario to find the triple tank, I guess, for Envy in this case. Either way, it's all sorts of aggression for them. Fasheko kind of feeling the brunt of that right now. Virtus.Pro has been kind of fighting back. Just as hard, if not harder, than you've been seeing out of Envy. So even with moments like this where Envy are able to get aggressive, I'm always left wondering how long it will last.
And Toki used the overpower a moment ago. It was just a small moment, but it was onto Dosups, who was within an inch of dead anyway. He used the overpowered like on maybe triple digits of health. So they get the kill. I'm wondering how that'll play out depending on when that overpower comes back. He might have been able to get away without using it. If nothing else, though, Envy are gonna seal up this defense. Headhunter used by Rock Monkey. But you have to be careful. When you push this far forward, if you get kind of swept, things get very difficult to respawn and then defend.
Especially on Frog Isle, things shift so fast on this map in the matter of seconds.
Doesn't have a second chance. Oh wait, yes he does.
I think he just got it. That is a spamming the keyboard kind of moment. That was on cooldown. Just now coming up. A really good Dread Serpent from Vex.
That gets the kill onto Tulky as well. Rubu trying to stay sustained, but not enough to withstand the damage of Dosups on that Barrack. Rock Monkey now could be the saving grace of this defense for Team Envy as Cruncy moves forward, close to an Ancient Rage. Not close enough to use it right now, though. Getting about 4% per slug shot for each connection. You might just be able to zone with Justice Makoa. Battle Shout from Tulky to keep him back in the fight. Ancient Rage ready for Cruncy if he needs it. Doesn't use it here. Hexafire spent by Random Noob, though. And a double kill from Rock Monkey is going to put the seal on this defense. We're going to one more mid fight to break this tie.
It's the most important one. A 2-2 scoreline could lead to 3-3, which we've seen actually happen already in this set. And it could lead to a win. So watch carefully over how these teams approach it. Everything will matter. No Dread Serpent, no Ice Storm available for Virtus.Pro. No Headhunter, no Evil Mojo. Nope, wrong ult right there. Exile. I had the E. It's not the right champion in my brain.
Exile Mojo. Yeah,
and no Hexafire. Hexamojo. That's actually what I was thinking of. I was staring at Ruckus and I said Evil Mojo, and I'm just like, I know that's not right. Random Noob didn't even play Pip earlier. So we'll see what's going on. That's that Friday night energy.
That's right.
Affecting my
Friday
brain too
night,
much.
last game of the split. Still a third place up for grabs. Whoever wins, grabs it. 5 Rezil 2s strong for Team Envy. Gonna shrug off a couple of those Virtus.Pro ultimates. Maybe a stun here and there from Vex. Dome Shield ready to roll. Rubu is just getting bullied by this Makoa. To the rescue, though, is Tulky with the big overpower. Ancient Rage, he got it off.
So well
oh my, he had no health left and somehow popped the Ancient Rage to keep him back in this fight. If Virtus.Pro are able to roll this one from that, this is a big play from Cruncy to keep him in the fight.
And that is more than anything so mistimed from Envy. It's perfect timing for the Makoa to pretty much do exactly what Ancient Rage needs to do. Hey, I need 10,000 health and I need it now. He called the right people. And he was able to get there with a 93%. They're looking to pick this one up.
And they're already at the point where they're just trying to dive on and start overtime. Random Noob, the first to fall. Dread Serpent from Vex was good last time. Looks like it's pretty good this time. Fasheko gets the kill on a Mr. Hayes, but traded out by Rock Monkey. You're going to need the Kinessa to go big here if you're going to try to pull back any sort of advantage for yourself. But Cruncy says no way. In behind Rubu for the double kill. This is a Makoa who is off the leash. And they're just going to find a couple more picks. Look how fast that overtime meter wants to go. Hexafire no good. Virtus.Pro is good. Point number 3 to them.
There's so much good that happens there for Virtus.Pro.
Yeah,
and
good. Good is a word.
Honestly, all of it starts with a little bit of luck. I don't think there's nothing you could say that plans it. It's missed timings from Envy. That overpower should have been a kill, and they had to do it in the window. The minute the click comes through from Tulky to throw him off, that enables that controller. Once again, he comes through, spams his ult as much as possible, Ancient Rage, and was able to revive off of that. Cruncy making huge plays for the team here. I mean, yesterday we were able to point at a moment that was the straw that broke the camel's back. That could have been that moment here for Envy if they lose this game.
Could have been the backdoor on Timbermill in game 1. Couple kills from Virtus.Pro, pushing it in. It depends how close or how much of an advantage you can get out of those couple of kills. He's got close to an Ancient Rage one more time. He just needs a little bit of poke damage. He'll have it back by the end of this round, depending on how long it takes Envy to defend. In behind, Random Noob playing the Ruckus this time, trying to escape. Not far enough from Erase. A minute and 17 seconds left. Ancient Rage one more time. Double kill from Erase.
Where are you going?
Perfect angle here from Cruncy. Into the back line of Team Envy. They crumble. Virtus.Pro succeed. And they go one win away from jumping Envy to third place.
Cruncy, again, I think everything on that map comes down from brilliant team play, head to toe, for Virtus.Pro. but Cruncy. Like, right? That's all him, especially towards the end there. That Ancient Rage, very well timed, good pop on it. Didn't quite get the kill on the Atlas, but he just kind of grabs the anchor, goes in for the bat, and says pull. And then you see a nice IO flying up. He just swings, knocks her down, everything you would have wanted.
I don't know, man. Virtus.Pro, they look unstoppable right now. Unfortunately for Envy, they have to stop them 4 times in a row to stay in 3rd place. I don't know if they can do it. Either do you. Find out in just a minute.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins Premier League.
Do you miss me at all? Do you think about the things we used to do? No, you couldn't stand tall. So why didn't you call? So many years has gone by, but I think about you all the time. Looks like you're changing and all. Well, why didn't you call? Something in the air, always something in the air. Inexplicable, I can feel it in the air. Can you feel me?
Welcome back in, guys. Virtus.Pro with their 3rd win in a row. Not only are they looking good, they are looking dominant, especially into a triple frontline comp it was that they had, but some of those problems came through. I mean, the IO had a little bit of a problem trying to spread out her healing as much as she possibly could, and VP were just too aggressive for her to deal with all of that all at once.
Yeah, the IO spread the heals as well as she could, but I think the biggest strength of the IO came in having it contesting the point,
right,
while the rest of the tanks could find another target, and that strength was evident, but that wasn't enough to turn the tide of how aggressive VP were with this double flanker to pretty forward tank composition. Good damage actually coming out of Doe. I didn't even notice how that one went, but I gotta say, the pressure they put on was just so tough to deal with. The damage on the other side was pretty big too, but Vex able to spread the heals much, much more effectively, I would say, across the team. That was kind of the balance of having Damba over having the IO. And the pressure they put on was just so much. Cruncy specifically, I think. This is why you ban Makoa, right?
Right.
Obviously, they didn't do it because they wanted to be able to get the Atlas or the other, and you have to give something up to take something. But Cruncy was unstoppable. By the time it took me to walk back to where we watched the game, Cruncy was in their backline already.
Right.
That's not normal. He was already all the way back there, and you said that, you're like, whoa. Yeah. I didn't expect the triple tank composition to be zoned to their spawn.
Oh, this is so sick.
His little swat out of the air. Good reaction time from Cruncy there to knock Hayes out.
So
sick. Hayes was just a T-ball, and Cruncy was ready to make his dad proud. But still, that was great, I think, coming from them. Also, I want to point out also the speed spirits from the Damba did a big deal for peeling away, right? When they tried to dive, there was one moment where Cruncy was in his shield backing away, got the speed spirits tick, and Random couldn't keep up. Random had just used his second dash to try to get into the shield, but that little bit of a speed boost made the difference to keep Cruncy alive and keep zoning them into their spawn.
I agree with that. Along with we had brought it up in draft. I mean, they went for these flankers, and they forced Random Noob onto something that we don't typically see him on, which is still just like an off tank, and it was harder for him to be able to try and keep up with that against VP.
Yeah, and I was about to say, if I had, I don't think I can count the amount of times I've seen Random Ruckus on one hand.
Right.
So it definitely is impressive for them to get forced that way. And going to Frozen Guard next is the choice that Envy wants to go. A wider map, a map that is normally something that I think works pretty well for Envy historically. They kind of like these kind of maps. But I think this is a map that's been great for VP. They pulled out Drogos that we hadn't really seen before in the past. They made it work. If they can make that work on this map, I think they can make anything work.
Yeah, I agree with that. You got rid of Ashe, you got rid of the Atlas. Strix and Makoa are also gone. So they've taken these out of the playing field. You have Envy on the Khan first pick as well. And VP are responding in kind almost immediately with the Barrack. I'm trying to see who their third pick will potentially be. But Barrack Genos, tried and true, could go for it. Or they could just leave it to dry.
It wouldn't be a bad pick if they wanted to go for a Genos. Is pretty good on this map, but Willow was left open with that Ashe ban, so get that instead. Maybe the other side doesn't want to go Genos, and even if they do, VP are perfectly happy with Grover. I mean, we've seen that before. They're totally willing to do that, bringing that poke alongside with the AoE healing that they have. See how Envy want to respond to this. I don't know if I would even want to take. Maybe I would just go for a Ruckus and have a Khan Ruckus aggressive composition at this point. You don't really want to run a Nara into a Willow. You can get away with it on this map, but like I said, they don't want to play a Nara into the Willow. The dead zone is just too impactful. Skip over it, figure out something else.
Welcome to the mean streets, kitten.
Yeah, I mean, Khan, Ruckus, Maeve are just going to be the locked-in characters for this go-around. And literally, I mean, I don't know if this means that this will try and be another IO game. I mean, they've got 2 off-tanks.
It would be very good for Envy. It would be very good for Envy.
It would be. Sure. Yeah, it would be. It's just a matter of, I feel like VP are ready for that. I feel like they're literally ready to be able to fight back against what it is that Envy have drafted, because it didn't work out last time, but granted, triple front line. But this go-around still, I mean, it'll still be difficult for them to try and fight back, especially if VP are ready.
I just want to really quickly remind everybody that this match, yes, both these teams are qualified for HRX, but this match determines seeding. It will change who they play against in the bracket. The winner of this match will be on the side of the bracket that NIP is on. The loser will be on the side of Na'Vi. So even though, yes, they're both qualified, it's going to change the matchups. It's going to change potentially how far they get in the bracket if there's a team they don't want to play against. We haven't mentioned in a couple games. I just wanted to make it very clear that this game does matter. Envy really have to strike back if they want to be on a bracket run where they meet Na'Vi a little bit later.
Yeah, I mean, Barrack, Willow, Maldamba, and Nara, you've got your sustainability, you've got your damage for sure, and you've got the Victor Genos. Now, this is interesting. I mean, Genos, 110% can be played with this composition. You can spread out the Luminary buff, you can spread out the healing. Of course, it's healing over time. It's not as much as some of the others. Okay, there it is. Okay, I was about to say. I was like, that's still going to be sort of difficult for them because of going into the Willow with the dead zone and just having too much pressure on them. That's going to be difficult for Genos to try and heal that back up, but it seems like they're going to try to stick with the IO.
It would have been able to be aggressive. Victor with the damage boost could have been pretty solid too, but IO is better for the whole team being aggressive, because otherwise they'd have to just anchor their Khan on point. That would have been the problem.
Champions are made
I do
by
like
the
this double
paths
point
they
tank
choose.
comp that VP bring out, and
Not
I think
the
they picked the
powers they
Inara there
embrace
just to
with.
deny that potential Inara Khan Ruckus triple tank from Envy if that was the direction they
we
wanted to
bite.
go. Now that they have their draft finalized, VP, they're going to need a back line with Victor gone. I think second in line. I mean, Cassie's still open. I would probably end up going Cassie here against the Ruckus and the Khan. It's pretty effective there, and also duels against the Maeve pretty well too, so see what they end up doing. I think Cassie would probably be where I would lie, but Leon is still a fine choice as well. More focused on dueling the Maeve than the Ruckus, but really depends on what VP thinks the biggest problem's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Barrack, you've got the Willow, Maldamba, and Nara. You can round out your draft with one more DPS. And it's just a matter of who they want to go for. I mean, like you're saying, I mean, I could see a Leon as well. I mean, trying to fight back against that Cassie. You mentioned it before. Definitely can be a pretty big counter as well. And that's going to be really, really amazing. I mean, especially into the Ruckus, into the Khan. It's going to be difficult for Envy, but I mean, their draft is not the worst. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think both teams have solid drafts. The Inara Barrack might be a little too stationary. Depends on how well they can kite away. I don't know what's going to happen, honestly, with this. CC kind of heavy between the Inara, Damba. Also disengage knockback, but that doesn't really matter. I think if this game ends quickly, I think it's on VP's side.
Right. I agree with that. 3-0 for VP. 3 wins in a row. We're looking at a game 4, but we're going to throw it down to the casters to take us into it.
A little bit more Envy in the draft for them this time. Triple front line. I love it as a composition, but it doesn't strike me really as an Envy composition. You know,
yeah,
they're a team, I think, talented enough to make it work, but once you start making random noob pivot to, you know, the Ruckus or whatever, you know, I think it's there. The merit is there. They're a team that can make it work, but it's not as consistent as their good old tried and true, put you on a good champ, and let's just swing it out.
The best thing for Virtus.Pro, actually, this was, I believe, the first map we started on today. Could be the last map for the day.
And
they
for the split.
have someone on a point tank. That's the big fatal flaw going into that first game against Kanga earlier. They did well on defense, but they didn't have anyone who could really match toe-to-toe on the point. This time around, Envy are more or less in that conversation. There's 2 point tanks here for Virtus.Pro. They doubled up. You've got Luna from IO to be able to do so. Khan can kind of put his name in that hat, but not when, well, it starts off like this.
Well, the double kind of aggression from Envy is you want to push them very far forward, leave the Fox back to capture the point for you and fight as 5 as far forward as you can. Virtus.Pro are going to counter that by immediately running into the Envy side of things. Good daggers from Random Noob, grabs the kill onto Fasheko, but already 66% for Virtus.Pro. Health bars middling, left and right, dancing between empty and full. Finally, Vex's completely expires. The early aggression was there from Virtus.Pro, but the sustain was not, and Envy get themselves back onto the point.
I'll be honest, it's kind of baffling that that doesn't go Virtus.Pro's way. There's so much they did right, and the only thing they didn't do was 1, confirm the kill on Tulki, but 2, keep track of this Knave. She was able to get to the side, find some really good daggers from that angle, and as such, was able to get rid of systematically the Willow, then the Cassie, and then help with everybody else in the way. Now Envy in the lead, 84-72. It's going to be a contest here, but they do have control.
Cheeky little Luna stun.
Gotta get on.
On to Crunchy. They're going to have to move forward 99%. Joseph spends his life for it. Barrage now is going to open the door. Hexafire charging up from Rubu. It's a double kill the old-fashioned way for the Ruckus. Toki gets the last kill in the fight and some life from Envy to start off this game.
Being able to find this first point, brilliant for them. A deathless mid-fight that comes through for them as well. 7,000 damage ahead of the next top. Rock Monkey doing pretty much what you would expect out of a Victor. Good barrage, well-timed and well-placed for that last little bit. And they do still have, well, 3 other ults available. 1 more about to charge back up as they get through the first 50% of this push. Pretty uneventful way.
Virtus.Pro need to find themselves the defense here. I mean, this is sort of supposed to be a tit-for-tat type of map where you give up the offense, but you're able to defend underneath your base. But clean sweeps from Team Envy are giving them a great chance to swing back, maybe get themselves a push here. Rock Monkey on this Victor's got a lot of weight to pull.
This is a different Envy than the last 3 games. Like, just inherently,
yeah,
it feels like a different Envy that's playing. It's the same 5 guys that are sitting in that booth right now, but they're showing up a little bit harder. This draft is working a little bit better. As of right now, 1.5 minutes, and we've seen, well, longer timers stall out here. They are walking it pretty close to the conversion point here without Virtus.Pro responding with any kills as of yet. They need to find something.
It's a big 1v1 that Random Noob comes out on top of. No kill, but the pressure forcing Fasheko back into the base. That's huge. Raise very low grenade connects, but not dealing the killing blow to the high ground of Virtus.Pro. Still 1 minute left. That's what you have to, be mindful of here. Lots of time to burn off that clock if you're VP. Envy have Midnight, have Be Gone as well. Virtus.Pro may just have to drop down, drop the dome shield, something to keep it from going in. But a good start nonetheless from Team Envy.
I need to see something more come out of Fasheko here. This Willow, she's banned out so often.
Yeah.
We finally get her. Needs to go big, and it's so many moments just like that. They're so low, and that last shot just doesn't connect.
One last one.
And that's going to allow them to heal up. Envy are still very much in this because they're full health, 5 health bars all around the payload. With 20 seconds left, they have plenty of time to play with without having to worry about respawns or travel time. They can get aggressive.
It is getting to the point now, though, where Virtus.Pro have done a good enough job on defense that maybe just one chance for Envy. They're going to open the door with the barrage. No kills, but a little bit of chunk damage into the front line. Fasheko holding onto that Faith Light, choosing the right time to dive in. Dread Serpent as well from Vex, awaiting in the wings if necessary. No kills either side just yet. Dosup's getting melted down. 1 more shot's all he needs. The heal's not there. Toki gets the kill. Overtime starting to expire. Gore down to the low ground from Vex. They're just fighting around these corners. Erase gets the kill onto Random Noob. That could prove very important here. Rubu into the Hexafire. No kills, all into the shield. He falls. And that's going to be the end of this push for Team Envy. Virtus.Pro, what a defense. That payload goes under that archway with like 1.5 minutes left and does not move another inch.
It's cutting it close is the only way I can think to describe it. Well played. I think Fasheko started to kind of pick up his weight. And I'm happy we watched that mainly from Vex's perspective because you could see the split of the team. You could see how they were trying to hold that And admittedly, you could also see how much wasn't connecting the way it should have. I mean, Vex was on point pretty much the entire time. Maybe a couple more stuns you could ask for, but at that angle, with that kind of pressure, I'm not counting it against him to not connect on every single one of them. But it's Fasheko that, you know, I would argue maybe 0-3 turning into 3-3 towards the end there is what it looked like, being very big. Erase 1-3, Vex 1-3. No kills really picked up for Virtus.Pro through all of that. They're going to have to play a lot more carefully around this mid-fight since Envy glass cannoned their way through.
Envy don't have the Hexifier, though. Rubu spent it to try to get the push. Vex is going to open up this fight with the Dread Serpent. No kills from it just yet. Fasheko up into the Fae Flight. Soaring high, looking for a kill onto Random Noob. Maybe one more shot, but Random Noob wins that duel. A little bit more consistent, a little bit easier maybe for the Mave. It's Midnight drops down, and Envy look to re-engage.
Well, they're doing exactly what they need to. There's going to be, again, the Midnight, and they don't really need much else to seal the deal on that one. You can't see, you can't shoot. Well, you can't get kills, and now they're going aggressive for the zone. Dismounts are going to be happening here. And it looks like so far they've gotten every single person. One just slipped through here, but I can guarantee it's not anyone that you're going to want.
Rock Monkey wins that engagement onto Erase. One last burst of damage onto the Cassie, and one more barrage onto Fasheko gives Rubu a much easier time in finishing off the kill. Dosups, in the meantime, drops down the Seismic Crash. Dome Shield as well from Virtus.Pro, but Do dies. And now Mr. Hayes has an easy job of just sustaining the rest of his team. Luna back onto the point, overtime expiring. Team Envy stay on the point, get the fight. Now have one more chance at taking a 3-1 lead.
All they need is conversion. They got pretty far in a minute last time around, and then not very far in a minute and a half thereafter. Virtus.Pro need to start this one off much stronger, I think, with their best foot forward, or else it's all falling apart. And right now, it kind of feels like it's falling apart at the seams. Frozen Guard, for whatever reason, is not their map. They have a better draft this time than they did this morning, but they are just getting outclassed every single step of the way. Finally coming up with some kills here. But Erase needs to go big. He needs to be able to find a trade. And there's just too much healing to deal with.
Hayes and Rock Monkey are having themselves a game here. 3-0-12 for the IO. 8-1-12 for the victor. Everyone, why not? Let's call out everyone. 4-2-10, 5-2-12, 6-2-13. This is the most complete team game for Envy that we've seen this set.
Everyone's doing well. Honestly, I think the two to highlight the most are probably Mr. Hayes, who has been kind of isolated in a lot of these, but also Rubu doing very well. Yesterday, even left comments after their set against the Knights saying that, you know, he felt pretty terrible for how he had been playing. Now you're seeing him in kind of what you would assume is his full form, taken down right here. So 2 traded out for 2 respawn proximity for VP, and a minute left to try and find the defense.
So they use the Overpower and the Hexifier. They don't, you know, push it in, you know, maybe detrimental, but there's enough time. I mean, this is another example of Virtus.Pro with 50 seconds left. And they have to secure this. Can't let it move all that much further forward. Respawn proximity, as you point out, is there. Rubu on a bit of a flank. No Hexifier there. Immediately answered back with a double flank by Virtus.Pro, but the rest of the fight, Gorit, might happen over here to the right.
It's going to be very dependent on how Envy want to get aggressive. 30 seconds left. Ult's coming back online for Virtus.Pro. 89% left on the Dome Shield, then they'll have all 5. Envy trying to charge up the 2 they used earlier as fast as they can. Rubu going down doesn't spell too much success here for Envy.
Especially if Random Noob dies as well. That might just be the final nail in the coffin of this offensive push. He extends his life not long enough. Now Virtus.Pro are going to move all the way out of their base. A little extra aggressive. Not much is on the line. Defense one more time. They use the full duration and tie up this game.
For Virtus.Pro, this is the essential moment. You can still go 3-3 if you lose this next mid-fight, but you can't play too well, or too closely with that, I should say. You have to be more aware, I think, of moments like this. That's just a beautiful, beautiful rotation coming down from Random Noob. Good ability usage, really, really good. Daggers, good aim. You can't count on that happening every time, but if you're Fasheko, you got to be a little worried about it. I argue, in my mind, don't use your Dread Serpent and your Fae Flight at the instant you see somebody, hold on to them for a little bit, see how the fight's going to go. Do use it for better positioning, but try to get the most out of these ults as you can, because Virtus.Pro didn't do it last round.
Oh, a slow start to this round. Quiet. Team Envy flank around Virtus.Pro. Random Noob looking for the right moment to dash in. Now is that time. Might win the engagement one more time, but the Dread Serpent grounds him. Up into the air goes Pacheco. Erase hits the final bolt onto Random Noob. And now Envy are scrambling, trying to decide where all of this engagement is coming from. They peel backwards. They delay things just for a minute. But 45% is where Virtus.Pro are able to stall out. You can't get that staggered here if you're Envy. You have to stay alive in order to re-engage, and they get the overpower onto Fishy.
Well, they use damn near everything as Virtus.Pro to be able to get that. They still have a Begone, they still have a Midnight, and a Hexafire available to be able to come back into this one in a perfect position here for Rubu, who's going to be able to open that door just wide open.
That's a big old double kill for him, and Rock Monkey finishes off Virtus.Pro. These mid fights from VP, they seemingly start off okay, and then they just suck the rest of the way. Envy, these retakes have been perfect.
I'm going to throw it out this way. I didn't see where the Dome Shield and the Seismic Crash got used. They shouldn't have been. Because not only did I not see where they were used, but they didn't seem to do anything for the team or the win that they needed. Now it's 93-78. And those two ults could be perfect for running in right now and trying to buy overtime.
And it won't be. 3-2. Envy. Chance to get a win in this set with a push here. We've seen both of the last 2 rounds end deep in the Virtus.Pro base. Different start here. Not like too much backdoor potential, but something you always have to be mindful if you're on Frozen Guard. This would be the longest and maybe most absurd if Random Noob were able to slip on through. Just get the kill. This is the most aggressive we've seen Virtus.Pro on the defense. Random Noob still lurking off to the side. You have to secure this if you're Virtus.Pro. I mean, you haven't been able to get it done with all of your ultimates. If you can maybe defend and keep the rest of them online, you have a chance in the next mid. But if they have to spend ults just to defend, I'm not putting my money on them in the next mid fight.
I don't think anybody is. At least not right now. Ults haven't been what you want out of them. If Envy can get this payload back under their feet, and all of a sudden, you might be seeing some of those ults for Virtus.Pro get popped too soon. They'll have to use them for the defense instead of being able to use them for the mid-fight next time around, which will put them at even more of a deficit for the map. There's a lot that needs to change. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure I can pinpoint the individual thing because I don't think it's any one thing. I think there's 4 or 5 every single time they're coming into this. Again, 2 ults that time that I don't understand where or why they were used for what they were. And there's a lot of moments where, you know, Pacheco used that Faith Light. I think that was a good sequence. That with the Dread Serpent, get the kill onto Random Noob was great. No one else did anything. You also have to look at where this maybe potency isn't going. So not only are they not getting kills, but the kills they're getting aren't onto the good targets. There's a 26 streak here for the healer.
That is a great pull onto Erase. Random Noob finishes the kill. Virtus.Pro has to find a kill here. Hexafire goes a-flying, but he's forced to pull back. Barrage from Rock Monkey, no connection. Grenade up to the high ground as Fishy flutters away with an inch of his life, but Toki catches a stray bullet into that Willow. 1 down for Virtus.Pro. Respawns are closer, no picks just yet. You need to find a kill if you're VP, but they're all coming up for Envy. They're gonna extend their lives in this set. Begone up against the wall. And there's a bounce back from Envy, a look we have not seen yet in this set.
If I'm Virtus.Pro, I'm banning Frozen Guard, or you know what? Actually, you got 2 weeks. Practice it. Spend every scrim at least once playing some Frozen Guard. That was really well played from Envy. But a lot of those mid-fights, there was only Envy, is what it felt like. I mean, you'd see Virtus.Pro come through. You'd see that they were there. You'd hear their ults. That's all you'd really get out of them. No, nothing in the kill feed from them, nothing crazy. The plays that were made in the first 3 games, I didn't see any of in that last one.
Those were about as one-sided of mid-fights as I've maybe ever seen. Right off the bat, I was surprised by Virtus.Pro. They took the fight to Envy, and then it all kind of crumbled from there.
They did better earlier with no point tanks against Kanga than they were able to do here. I mean, a lot of good defenses earlier in that first game. Nothing, I mean, pretty much the same kind of story around the mid-fight. Yeah. And it feels like that's what their drafting isn't going for as well. It hasn't been able to conquer that mid-fight. And that's the name of the game right there. I mean, you can defend as much as you want. It's not going to win you anything in the middle.
I think morale-wise, Envy needed this one. Win-wise, They need 3 more. Find out if they can start that in just a sec.
Respawn, the official gaming chair of the Paladins Premier League.
Welcome back, guys, to the PPL. Envy taking their first win against Virtus.Pro. A 3-win streak for them. Could have ended it there, but Envy decided that, they wanted to win and had the very, very last breath of life, or at least one of them, to be able to fight back against Virtus.Pro.
Is that all it takes?
Yeah, I guess you just really got to win.
I'm sick of losing.
Yeah.
I think I want to win this game. No, I think it was VP's draft was, I think the point tanks, double point tank on this map is just not mobile enough.
Right.
Honestly, I think it just kind of got outspaced by the aggression that Envy were able to bring out. I think the IO brought a lot too in terms of keeping people alive. The damage reduction to not let them die when they were peaking, and then they can't really chase because the draft that they had was just too immobile.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, really difficult for them to be able to try and make up for that. But it'll be their map pick this go around. But before we get into that, let's look at the post-game stats and see where everybody plays. 138,000 for Rock Monkey, man. I mean, that is some of the best it is that you can get with your DPS, that's for sure.
Yeah, you definitely want to see numbers like that. The tanks on VP were both pretty close in damage, but the slash lines for Dose, otherwise at least, kind of hard to keep himself alive. But everyone on Envy was finding it hard to die. Hayes had a perfect game. Rock Monkey only 2 deaths across the board, and I think that has to do a lot with not being able to really chase down. Only people who really could were the DPSs, and they have the highest deaths, and that's why. They had to put themselves into these strange situations just to be able to chase down these kills. 5 and 12 for Fish, 4 and 11 for Arrays. But I think the star of the show right now would be Rock for Envy. The damage he put was so much higher than everybody else's on his team, as you'd expect to see from a Victor. He also got a lot of secures, which instead of just being a kill thing for Rock, just having all those kills too, is part of how immobile they were, right? Because they can't get away from the damage hose that Rock Monkey was.
Right. I mean, 12, 2, and 25. You have 25 assists, even on a DPS. Like, that's insane. That's a lot of numbers, and that just means it goes to show that their rotations were on point. They played together. They had the point presence it was they needed, and they also had the DPS to do it. I mean, especially the Victor. Victor was so good to be able to be picked on this map. I mean, he was just constantly bursting both of them. Anara, Barrick really couldn't handle the damage it was that he had.
Random did a good job of chasing people down, too.
Agreed.
Being willing to trade his life for some of these. And also, shout out to Tulky, too. I think he went 13 and 4 by the end of the game. Again, silently just having great games. But Rock Monkey was the person we wanted to look at, right? That's literally what we said before this game started. Tulky always has a great performance, and we're like, oh man, this other person popped off a lot too. But Tulky always is just consistently getting these kills, doing this damage, keeping this contest. Great by him to be able to always do that for them. Always been that stalwart presence for Envy, and I'm sure he will continue to be for a long time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Along with the fact that, I mean, I mentioned it before, this is their map pick. I mean, this is what Virtus.Pro, they're going to be able to choose to go to. And typically, I mean, it could go either way still. I mean, Envy, this could have been their chance to realize, hey, here's where our mistakes were. Let's try and fix those into these following games. Or VP could just be like, well, this is our map pick. This is exactly what we want to pick. And not only that, this could be potentially where they end up winning. But we got to see where they're going. We got to see what they have in store for us. And it's Warder's Gate.
Warders is a map that I think we've seen a couple times from VP. I'm surprised it wasn't Ascension, but I think maybe they're holding on to that for a little bit later if the set does go longer. A couple maps are still on the board, but Warders is where they will be. This is a map that has a couple different things you can do. It's a very strong map for Ruckus because of that crystal giving you vertical mobility. It's also strong for any character that can hold a room and spam a point, right? So if you're good at locking down small areas, it's a pretty solid map for you. You can sit next to the point, be protected by your one tank, and then stop them from capping that whole time because you are kind of put in a little... You're in a lane when you're in the point. You really can't avoid shots too much. There's very open, so you have to have a strong point tank to be able to get that pressure, or you're going to have to give up a lot more cap time than you're going to be comfortable with.
Strix, Khan, Maeve. Okay. Now this goes back to what we were saying before. They're trying to limit random noobs' champion pool. They've got rid of the Strix. They have the Khan also banned on Envy's side. Maeve is being taken out of the equation, so Random Noob cannot be able to flex onto at least one of those characters, which means they might try and go for an Eevee first pick. Can you see that?
Maybe. I doubt it with Makoa and Atlas both up. I think you need at least one of them.
Good point.
It's probably going to be Atlas, realistically, giving Makoa Barrack to Envy on the other side. Unless VP thinks Makoa is more important, which they very well could. We saw them very dominant with Makoa on Frog Isle. Wouldn't be shocked to see them value it enough to take it one more time. We'll have to see. Inara is banned, so Barrack, last remaining point tank. Possibly that means Io. Could be higher priority for VP if they want to go that way. Having that extra person to cap the point, let the rest of the team get aggressive, will be really important if they want to be able to contest the Inara at all without, well, contest the Barrack at all without the Inara being on the field.
Well, VP are definitely taking their time to consider their options. Bank time is ticking down. Just who they want to try and go first. I mean, once again, mentioned it before, the power tanks aren't gone. You have the Makoa open, you have the Atlas open, and that's, you know, a statement in its own right. It's who they want to go first, and it looks like it's going to be the Makoa this go around. Envy, more than likely, can't imagine it wouldn't be the case, are going to take the Atlas. It's just a matter of who they will take second.
It's got to be Barrack if you ban Inara, right?
Yeah, good point.
I don't think there's another option, honestly.
There's hope yet.
VP though, Cassie's still up, so I think VP are gonna take Cassie. Big Game is still pretty effective into Atlas, and she's pretty good at wrecking Barrack's shields. Plus, you do not want Big Game on the field if you are playing Makoa. So VP end up in a pretty decent spot, honestly. I was going to say maybe they could grab Khan, but then I remembered he's banned. So possibly Ashe from VP if they want to be very aggressive. That's definitely one way to do it. Alternatively, Nando if they feel like they still need a point tank. But I feel like you could go Makoa Ashe and then just pick up that Io and just absolutely take it to Envy. It's an option that's still up for them, and they have plenty of time to think about it. But I think they burned a lot of their bank time actually with that Makoa. So honestly, they might be kind of short on time to consider these decisions.
I mean, 55 seconds left in the bank time. They are really thinking.
I think that's a holdover from Smite. I think there's only like 40 seconds of bank time all in all. So, and it's not different. It's not different in the LAN client that it is on live client. I think it's only like 40 or 50 seconds. You have extra.
So is Willow Io.
Yeah, it is Willow Io, and Io I think is going to be really good. Now they still have options for their other off tank. They could still go Ashe. They could still go Ruckus. However, whatever aggression they want. Ruckus would be a great pick actually, and honestly, now that I think about it, it might be a great pick for Envy. Another triple tank draft wouldn't look too bad on this map because. Considering this, to me, is Ruckus's home map. This is the map where I would always want Ruckus over a lot of other characters.
Right, 110% understandable. Atlas Barrack is going to be, you know, their first picks. I mean, we saw that before. Now, Envy taking their time to consider what they could possibly go for. I mean, you've got the Makoa, you've got the Willow Io, Genos, Leon, maybe?
Possibly. It would be pretty good at dealing with the Willow.
I mean, they also have Cassie open, too. I mean, if they really... But it's just a matter of the...
Wait, I forgot that they didn't take Cassie. Yeah, it would probably be Cassie just to deal with the Makoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Big Game plus Luminary against an Ancient Raging Makoa is basically instant death, assuming your Cassie is willing to play safe enough. It'll make a little bit of sense. No real combos yet, but they actually want the Leon instead. Okay. That's honestly surprising to me. That, to me, says they value Willow as a threat more than Makoa.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once the game actually starts, we'll have to see if whether that's a smart move or a very fatal error on Envy's side. VP, once again, Makoa, Willow, Io. You have the sustainability. Io has the pocket potential. I mean, Willow, once again, so much damage and so much damage that can be spread out. I mean, that's going to be really strong for her to be able to fight back against a really good draft on Envy's side. I mean, I do like it. I mean, it's the Atlas that's standing out to me, of course. You get one of the power tanks. and it definitely can shift something towards your favor.
I mean, both teams are totally tier listing right now, and I get why
100%.
VP are going Ruckus here. Fantastic on this map, able to be great. Also paired with IO, the damage reduction is going to be a big deal.
Time to destroy
Cassie not even picked by VP, which is surprising to me. But Victor, we know how strong he is against Atlas. Also very strong against Barrick. Barrick has a huge head, and Victor burst mode all headshots does 990 damage. That's kind of crazy. That will I think it almost 3 shots at Barrick if he doesn't get to bowling ball in time, or 4 shot, I think. If we get to that.
Nah, this is just
Envy do their troll hovers. I know this isn't a real thing potentially. I would be shocked if they went with this. I don't even think it's very good against the composition they're against. Will be EV for random noob. Being able to stay mobile, kind of might have some struggle. Might struggle a little bit against that Willow and Victor, but I think it has some potential into this IO. Force out that leap, get out of the way. As long as you don't get stunned by Luna, I think Random has a chance to pop off on this champion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Atlas, Barrick, Genos, Leon, Eevee against the Makoa, Willow, IO, Ruckus, Victor. I mean, you've got your aggression on VP's side. I mean, on Envy's side, you definitely have point staying power. You have the backliner that you need, which is Leon in this case, to be able to pretty much just burst that Willow, try and stop that Victor. And give Ruckus a hard time, too. But still, whose draft do you like more?
I think it's VP, man.
Yeah.
Makoa, Ruckus, IO on this map. Victor Willow backing it up. Victor Willow, to me, is a really, really strong DPS combo. Envy have a shot, but as with Genos, it does kind of put a lot of pressure on your tanks to stay alive. They've been playing well so far, but Victor Willow might be too much pressure for them to handle.
Yeah, I mean, I just see the... I'm still a little bit blown back by the no draft Cassie. I mean, Leon, once again... It's just saying that Willow is a bigger threat. But we'll have to see once again, did Envy make a good draft or did they make a fatal error in Game 5?
I don't think they made a fatal error for what it's worth. I think that they have drafted kind of what I mentioned after that triple tank game where Envy thrive in those kind of comfort pick situations. If they draft something good for Random, draft something good for Rock Monkey, get everyone on something cohesive but something comfortable is when the highest, I think, ceiling, the highest potential of Envy comes out. You have to execute, but the potential, I think, reaches a little bit higher. Virtus.Pro have a great draft themselves as well. We're going to get to see another look at Cruncy on the Makoa and another look, I'm assuming, at Rubu on the Atlas.
What I love most out of Virtus.Pro's draft is it's very much that if you can't beat them, join them. Like, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna play IO. See what it does.
When have we seen Vex on IO?
I feel like I've seen it once or twice, but it's not very common. At the end of the day, it's not something that I think of too much.
Whoa.
And it's not working very well.
Well, that's spooky if you're Virtus.Pro. 5 sweep for Envy.
Very fitting for the time of year.
What a time of year.
Great time to be spooky if you're in this kind of area.
You're not wrong. Virtus.Pro need to be spooked that they might not get another chance in this mid-fight. Cruncy gets dismounted by Random Noob. The line is drawn. 93%, he's in range. 96, oh, good Void Grip, but the Shell Spin gets him back into range. A better hook, oh, that pulls up Mr. Hayes. Cruncy gets the only kill of the game so far for Virtus.Pro. The rest of Envy, they collapse on Virtus.Pro, and the pressure is there, the point is there, and the payload spawns for Envy.
Well, you said execution-based. Well, they're executing. And not only are they executing their composition the right way, but they seem to be executing Virtus.Pro right where they stand. 5-0-3 is Rock Monkey. Top damage in the game. You can ignore that for now. It really does come down to his aim. That is just kind of breaking things apart. It's also very helpful that you have Random Noob hitting a lot more shots than we've seen on Envy. This game feeling a lot more comfortable than what we saw at the beginning of this set.
Okay.
And even being able to lock down Pasheka.
I don't know where the like kill floor is in that well, but
low enough.
Fishu is very, maybe about halfway to it. I don't know how close. Enough to make me think twice. Cruncy gave Virtus.Pro a chance in the last mid-fight, but it was not enough. Rock Monkey hovering high, hits the Enlightenment, no kill, back to 0% cooldown. Remember, that gets refunded to 50 if you're able to get an execute. Ends up finding the kill anyway. Now Team Envy moving forward. Look how fast they're going right on through that wall. Now the Dome Shield is ready. Exiles maybe to start this off. They're just going to try to zone with the Exiles here. Nobody from Virtus.Pro want to leave the base. What's the timeout on that? So now might be the time where they roll forward. Virtus.Pro set back, second chance. All they need, 2 points for Envy.
I have no idea what snapped in Envy.
What's going on right now?
Or what snapped in Virtus.Pro. I don't know. It feels like if you swapped player games, you swapped team sides, right? This was the same amount of control Virtus.Pro had in the first 3. And Envy are just playing better. There's no other way to word it. They're just playing better. They're beating you outright. They are playing at the end of the day with better mechanics, better aim, better timings on their cooldown rotation. Anything and everything, you name it, they got it. As they are just slaughtering pretty much anyone and everyone on Virtus.Pro.
That's almost an understatement somehow. I mean, they blew through the first 2 points. 4 minutes into this game with 45-second between-round buffer times. You're looking at a 2.5,
Virtus.Pro's map, by the way.
Yeah. Virtus.Pro picked this one. Envy have definitely found success on Waters Gate throughout the 2019 season. What a long-range shot. He's flying in the air. Pull, says Rock Monkey. Erased, destroyed up in those levitation crystals. What a play from Rock Monkey. Hexafire down onto the point. Doseps, he's too stationary. Easy shot for Mr. Hayes. Fasheko pulls one back. This is the closest this mid-fight has been throughout the entire game so far. The damage dealers for Virtus.Pro need to get it done. They have no healing. Team Envy in a very similar spot, except they have Mr. Hayes to sustain them, but a hush falls as kills are coming up for both teams.
Rubu has been on the verge of death over there, and I want nothing more than for someone to find a stray shot, but he's going to get healed up here pretty soon, be able to kind of stay in the fight. Pretty monumental victory there for Virtus.Pro, just in the way that these last couple of mid-fights have gone for them. But it's not enough for them yet. It's 54-39. They finally have someone on the objective, and it's Luna, of all people, to be there. And they trade this one 1-for-1 so far.
Yeah, it's Doseps for Tulki. So things slowing down here one more time. We paused at about 20% for each team. We're pausing one more time at about 50% for each team. Fast cap there for Virtus.Pro. Envy did it the normal 3% way. Back to the point here. I mean, at this point, you're starting to get kind of that second wave of ultimates almost ready. Envy have the better ones. They have them ready right now. Exile used from Rubu. Random Noob's going to take that as the cue to get aggressive. Floats on in behind Doseps. Just needs one more shot, but the peel is there. Fasheko, in the meantime, big double kill on that Willow. Gets rid of Rock Monkey. So much direct damage gone. Flutter, aggressive forward. Fae Flight as well. 2 members left of Envy in the sights of Fasheko. Mr. Hayes is definitely going to go down with one more shot, and that might just be it.
Nice little wall. Going to be able to keep him alive. Another double kill here from Fasheko.
Oh, no.
Going to be able to continue the route, but it's going to be all Envy all day as they come up and find more kills.
How did Envy fight back into that one? They were losing everybody. Rock Monkey respawns. Rock Monkey does the damage. Unbelievable. 12, 3, and 6 for the Leon. And against all odds, Virtus.Pro collapsed one more time on that mid-fight. Envy with a chance to win it 4-0.
Envy must have spent their, like, between game 3 and 4, they called the BGs. Because they're staying alive now, Dave.
Oh, I was so close to hitting you with the high note, and I'm glad I didn't. That was so close. Oh, I just wanted to make it known that it at least crossed my mind. Virtus.Pro are going to push out from their base. BGs would be proud of Team Envy in this set. Remember, a 3rd seed in the quarterfinals to secure with this set. Maps, all that by the wayside. Winner take all. The other bumps down to 4th. Ice Storm from Random. Noob blocks up the Ruckus. But unfortunately, Fasheko was there as well, so big kill from them. Just looking for something. Looking for something here on Waters Gate. This has shades of earlier in the set, but teams are flipped.
And at this point, I think Virtus.Pro are looking for anything. Whether it's in this map or just in the future of the set, they want anything. A defense even is going to be better than a 4-0 here for Envy. But they're just not finding it. I mean, their draft is fine. They're just not playing it at the same level they were playing earlier. Again, I don't know what changed between map 3 and map 4, other than, I guess, maybe Rock Monkey zoning in.
Rock Monkey's nuts, man. That's a big double kill for the Leon. Mr. Hayes is going to go down at the hands of Cruncy, who is having a great game on the Makoa, I might add. I mean, in the absolute storm that Virtus.Pro are in right now, somehow Cruncy's found a way to stay impactful. 4 members of VP kind of up to the left here, make it 3. It's the last 2. Shell spin in from Cruncy. You got to be careful there. You're spinning into a couple of members of Team Envy. might not where you want to be. Rock Monkey is peeling backwards, back towards the payload. Too many threats, too many directions here for Team Envy. The Exiles from Rubu are going to lock down a couple, but this is a very disjointed fight, and Virtus.Pro are going to win it.
Starting to look like themselves, though. Took them a little while to get there. About 9 minutes total that they spent in-game here. Pretty much getting thrashed by Envy for 9 of them.
Yep.
Had some good reprieves. This is one of them for this defense with 7 seconds left. They should hold, but they're going to need something big on the mid.
You look at the ultimate count going into maybe the next mid fight. Envy, everything really but the Exiles. That Ice Storm will be quick. No be gone for Virtus.Pro. So differences, to be sure. Virtus.Pro are going to grab themselves their first point. So a good fight back there from them as Envy, for the first time this game, unable to convert for a point. A lot of things. I mean, we've been juggling, trying to figure out what changed. I think Rock Monkey starting to hit that stride is a big difference here.
It's something very similar we saw. You roll back time, you remember there's a set with Shadow on the Renegades. They were down 3-0, and just games 4 and 5, he demolished anyone and everyone in his path to make sure that they didn't go down. And it is the Rock Monkey effect here for Envy that is keeping them alive. Although, credit where credit's due. He might be 6 and 5. The slash line doesn't convey it as much, but Random Noob is playing out of his damn mind on Eevee right now.
I agree.
A lot of those deaths, I would argue, are probably coming from this last defense more than any other time this game. He has been a very significant threat throughout this entire game.
I think
could still apply that pressure.
I think Rubu on the Atlas as well. I mean, honestly, this is between Frozen Guard and now the first 4 points of this map complete from everyone. Easy to highlight Rock Monkey because the big flashy kills, but you know, everyone else is doing their job. Hexafire used, Hexafire canceled, Enlightenment used from Rock Monkey, maybe just to save his life up in the air there. Nothing else he did. Mr. Hayes getting dove now. Big setback absolutely gets rid of him, but he finds the angle onto Mr. Hayes with the barrage. No more healing. Rock Monkey doesn't care about that. Gets aggressive, low health targets for the Leon. Big old double kill as Ancient Rage swings away now from Cruncy, but he's going to shift targets, get aggressive, dive in onto Vex, be gone up into the air, but Random Noob gets the kill.
Finally, they're able to at least close out one thing here and get rid of Rock Monkey. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop anything else on this point. Envy, they just kind of stand there.
Yeah, the fizzle towards the end of that game, palpable. But a big fight from Team Envy to stay in this set. We're going to a game 6. Now the conversation around momentum. You know, I'm thinking they go down 3-0, no chance. Maybe you get one map, maybe you get two. But these have been convincing. It's not like they kind of stumble across the finish line. They are blowing Virtus.Pro out of the water in these last two games. The tug of war continues. And at this point, if you're just taking it one map at a time, I have no idea who you give it to.
Yeah, I can't follow that up either, honestly. I think Virtus.Pro, that was their map choice, and knowing that was maybe first on the list of where to go after they take a loss, it's not looking too good for them. Maybe go back to some of the normal. Can't remember everything that was banned, but, you know, Bright Marsh, Jag Falls, not bad options. You go to something maybe that fits your style, and you try to win it out as best you can. Otherwise, Envy are looking unstoppable.
Looking unstoppable. They'll look to extend this set one more game in just a minute.
INAP, powering the control room for the Paladins Premier League.
Welcome back, guys, to the PPL. Envy taking it over VP again. Evidently, the game it was they ended up winning. They found something that ended up working for them, or at least found that mistake they were making and definitely rectified it. And I mean, if Rock pops off as hard as he does in the continuing games, then it's kind of hard to argue.
Yeah, Rock just kind of decided he didn't want to lose. I mean, also great play by the Atlas too. Even some of the exiles that they were finding were good enough at CCing to help them find some kills later in the game. Random also staying alive, continuously harassing, not making it particularly easy for them. But I gotta say, Rock Monkey for me definitely my highlight for that. Constantly finding kills in every single fight, back and forth. Looking at the stats here, I mean, they kind of followed up too. More damage than Arrays. Arrays actually almost getting out damaged by Fish, which is surprising to me because to me Victor is just DPS the character.
Yeah, I mean, 83,000 damage for Rock Monkey, 58,000, 60,000, and 17,700. Like, my goodness. Like, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. I feel like I've repeated so much today because of how consistent a lot of these players have been doing. I mean, they've been doing well. Rock Monkey, 17, 7, and 8. He literally popped off, and everyone saw that.
Yeah, I mean, it's twice in a row to highlight Rock Monkey, but it was impossible, I think, to ignore his performance on this game. He had one really sick shot on Arrays that air-to-air, it was amazing, but it was a little lucky. I think we all know about that jumping and accuracy in-game.
Right.
Makes it a little bit tougher to connect those shots. Still, you got to put yourselves in those positions to get lucky, and Rock was right where he needed to be to make it all work. Everyone on VP struggling to find the kills on Rock Monkey in a lot of different situations. Always in the right place. That was a good hook there to catch him, but not enough to stop the onslaught, the terror that Rock Monkey has been so far this game, and will need to continue to be if they want to finish this reverse sweep.
Yeah, I mean, Envy are looking great, and it's hard to argue that, especially after the first game it is they win. This is the second. This could very well be the third, but of course we'll have to see what map we're going to see where VP are going to take us again. This is their map pick, and it's Ice Mines. Okay.
Ice Mines definitely want to kill the momentum that Envy have taken more or less so far. All these games have been 4-2s and 4-1s. We haven't seen a 4-0 or 4-3 yet, so it's Ice Mines, so that'll probably change, and I don't mean in the 4-0 direction for sure. See how they want to draft here. Blaster's definitely very high priority as always here, and Willow kind of sings to that first ban for VP. Strix could be the response from Envy if they feel like they don't want to have to deal with it. These top tier players piloting that character are just too much to handle. When you keep connecting those quick scopes, those flares, the damage is definitely just overwhelming.
Yeah, Willow is being taken care of. Envy are considering who they want to ban coming into this next match on Ice Mines, and it's going to be the Anar. They're going to go with that first. And this is actually interesting because VP picked this map, but if they don't do well on this, this is the one map I'd be afraid to lose on as well because of how heavy the momentum can be swung. And it's almost sort of a gamble. I mean, even though this is VP's map pick, it could still go either way. It's very, very careful. You get rid of the Makoa, you get rid of the Atlas.
Yeah.
And those are going to round out those bans.
This is why I don't really like banning the Inara first, because now I'd be surprised if VP took Khan. Overpower is very powerful on this map, but giving up the only point tank left on Ice Mines, where I think Barrack is very impactful. Dome Shield, very effective ultimate. Definitely the debate between them right now is Khan or Barrack.
Right.
But if they give up Khan, they're going to give Khan Ash to the other side, both pretty strong off tanks. They'll be stuck with Ruckus, who is all right on this map, but not fantastic. They'd probably end up back on Nando, and maybe that's just not ideal for them. This way they're going to be stuck probably with Nando point tank anyway, so to see what VP decides to go with. I'm sure that is the debate on their side as well. Either way, I expect to see a lot of tanks going this early. Fish seems to be still unsure what they want to do.
Okay, they're going to go for Barrack.
Is going to be locked in?
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah, I can't imagine it.
Oh,
okay. Wait.
We're being trolled.
Guys, okay. Now we're back on Barrack.
It's going to be one of the two. I would say Barrack. Barrack makes a lot more sense. With the Nara band, I think you just have to take the advantages where you can in the draft. If those are the only 2 point tanks that are viable to use, like exclusively on the point and poking back, I think you just have to take the other one. I don't think there's even a choice.
Ash, first pick for Envy. Khan, yep, that's going to be their second pick. You have double off tank. Now Envy, I don't always want to attribute this to an IO pick, but I mean the double off tank today has been so consistent. Even triple front line as well has been so consistent with just wanting to draft this IO so that the team could sort of go nuts. I don't know if that's what this is telling me, but it definitely seems really strong in Arrays with the Strix Grover. Yeah, that seems really, really good for VP already.
This is definitely what I'd expect from VP. Strix, we know, is very effective on this map. As long as they can keep the Ash and the Con off of him. Other picks could help with that too, whether it be Pip, Drogos, even Nando to block one lane, or use Immortal to keep the rest of his team alive during that. Though Immortal won't really save from the overpower on this map. You can be thrown off of the edge, I think, a little bit too easily to rely on the Immortal to counter the overpower. Envy's next choice is going to be pretty important. I would assume that they would take their Blaster or their backline right away. They could actually wait on their backline because Strix has already been picked on the other side, so Blaster and support I think would make a lot of sense. We could see, I was going to say Ying or Genos because you want that dismount potential, which is something the VP now lack. And Pip. So you're going to take random noob's pick, have that ultimate that's very strong at bursting down healthy targets, and also just giving extra healing to your team. And Ying Pip is a lot of healing that VP are going to have to figure out a way to burn.
Yeah, I mean, you got Ying for the Illusory Rift. I mean, you've got Pip. Pip does a lot of damage, but of course you cannot forget the fact that he still can heal. I mean, with his potion, with his Q, which is default settings. I use default settings, but that's going to be something that's really, really important for them. They can keep themselves up for a very, very long time, and it's a matter of VP. I mean, they're discussing it right now. What do they pick? Well, what do they try and go for, Krez, that you feel like will be the answer to this?
Well, is Ruckus, it the Ruckus? I think maybe Nando could be better to live through some of that damage, but Drogos is definitely where my mind goes, even though I think Envy are going to end with a Cassie or Victor. Either one are going to be very strong, I think, at dealing with the draft that VP have. Cassie more for the scout and for burning the Ruckus, Victor more for dealing with the Drogos and just trading into the Strix with the Barrage. We'll have to see what they end up prioritizing, and it might be Grok. We might see triple support, double tank if they want to go that way. Grok is pretty good at bouncing off of Ruckus, off of Barrack. Shock Pulses also kind of negate the healing from Grover, but it's also kind of easy to get run over with a Grok. Yeah. If they leave him in a bad place, it could be tough, but it is Rock Monkey potentially that would be piloting the Grok, and to me, that's not a player that I expect to see out of position easily walked over that often. So if anyone could get away with it, it would be Rock, especially since the only person that can get super aggressive on VP's lineup would be that Ruckus.
Well, they're definitely taking the time to consider it, but that'll be really, really interesting to see. Okay, they're going to go for the Cassie instead.
If they lock this, which would make sense. It's their way of stemming the aggression, right?
Right.
They were thinking about countering the Grover by having that and letting themselves get even more aggressive, but they're saying, well, if we have Pip and Cassie, that Ruckus isn't really going to do very much, depending on how they play around him, and that's kind of what they're going to follow up with. I think an answer for VP for this might be screw Combustible, play like Propel 4 Fusillade or something.
Okay, yeah.
Just go with it.
Right.
Make it work. Play aggressive. That could be the answer, and that could be something that catches Envy off guard. The question is, that will probably work for the start, but will it work all game?
Right.
If VP will probably end up playing safer with the Combustible, so I don't know. I want to give the edge to Envy because I think Pip Cassie is a good combination, but Strix Drogos on Ice Mines with Barrack backing it up is powerful too.
Yeah.
I gotta say, slight edge to Envy though. Ying, Pip, Ashcon, Cassie is a very, very good draft on Ice Mines.
I mean, their sustainability is like out of this world. I mean, clearly, for sure, this is like a cauterized game, as if everyone else already picks cauterized as it is. This is gonna be pretty insane. More so, 3-2. Will Envy tie it up, or will VP close out the set?
Couldn't tell you, Fawn. I think you have to take each game on just a draft-by-draft, execution-by-execution basis. Momentum, I think, by the wayside here. If we were considering it, though, Gore, I think Envy has it on their side. Draft a Cassie, which I think interesting somewhat on Ice Mines. It's a rock-solid pick for Rock Monkey, but not super common for Ice Mines.
No, normally, and the tier list that was kind of over there would be, we've even seen Vivian over Cassie here.
Victor
typically comes up here more often. Leon has just gone wayside on this one. No one cares about her when you come here. So you at least have that going for you. You eliminate one of that pool, but she works pretty well, Cassie, against the Ruckus. Works decently well against Drogos, only on this map because he can't go too high up in the sky, can't get too far away from her. And then you add in, good against the Barrack, good against Grover, good against Strix. Not going to be the exact counter to any of them other than maybe the Ruckus, but has some good strengths.
It does. Strix as well has started to come into the meta, not only on this map, but all over the league. Good plug shots there. Looking for that flare follow-up. Lots of chunk damage if you can hit that 1-2 snipe flare combo. First blood, Erase finally gets the better of Mr. Hayes, who had been ducking out of the damage just a little bit too consistently. They're already to 42%. I mean, this is Ice Mines, and you have to consider the fact that a 2-man advantage could be enough to just secure this mid.
Well, as of right now, they're going to at least diminish it a little bit, take care of Fisheko, get him out of the sky, but it's 78-3. There's going to be a lot from Random Noob to potentially get back in there. If they can kill off Cruncy, that's a nice open door.
Mr. Hayes gets killed by Erase, and Erase adds one more as well. Mr. Hayes had negative uptime in that fight once Erase started hitting his shots. He killed Mr. Hayes the moment the Ying came back. Immediately killed him again. 0 for 2 is Hayes. Toki with the only kill for Envy, and what a start for VP.
Brilliantly played, again. Executed much more like we saw at the beginning of this set than we saw this time. Erase, once he locked in, was locked in and on 2 targets. Found Mr. Hayes more often than not, but was able to get Random Noob in there as well. Good pressure coming down from the Strix. Not easy to play in this close-knit quarters.
Oh, what a whirlwind! You get the dream Evil Mojo, but they're not able to get any kills. That is unfortunate. Vex saves the day, and they get Random Noob to cap it all off. It is combustible for Fisheko. Assert Dominance may be used to lock up some, but Rubu's not able to get that one off. Still remains off of cooldown, so it's there to be used. Mr. Hayes now staggered out. Dominoes are falling here, Gore.
Can we take a peek at the items? I feel like I saw Grover pop out. Nothing to help him. It just feels like he popped out of that chicken a little earlier than everybody else. Maybe it was just luck on his part. Who knows? Maybe he's just able to come through. Use that whirlwind. Very well timed. He has the morale boost to be able to get that. And yeah, no one's died so far. VP are playing this one pretty spot on.
That was an Assert Dominance onto Erase, and he was alone up there, and Rubu couldn't get the kill. Fisheko as well. Wow. Big double with this Drogos. One last shot. Dosup's going to do it. This one's going in for sure. As Mr. Hayes gets out of range. 2-0 up. Go VP. You figured this one might be fast.
This is Virtus.Pro's map.
Yeah.
Like, hands down. This is just, you know, much like early on this phase, Envy had Fish Market. If they took anyone to Fish Market, it was over. This is that map for Virtus.Pro. If you go here, they just tend to understand a little better. Granted, that's not a universal law. Fish Market kind of was. This one does tend to kind of go back and forth depending on the 2 teams playing, but they know it pretty well. They have a good draft for it. What a clean sequence.
That feels so bad. The start of the clip is the snipe flare combo onto Hayes. The end of the clip is Hayes back from respawn on his mount, getting sniped by Erase again, and he dies. Oh, that sucks. He's 0-4 now. The uptime just hasn't been there. It's been tough sledding for everyone on Team Envy, with 1 kill to hang their hat on. Now's the time to fight back, though. We've seen teams go down by 2, come back and win it in this set. Cruncy, though, is going to have something to say about that. Big first kill onto Rubu. Erase now positioning himself back and forth between these windows. The zone is on from VP.
Already cresting over 50% for Virtus.Pro as well. Ults that are down are charging back up. Ults that are up haven't been used. They are perfectly fine being able to play it this way, where it's just a slow roll, pretty much identical to the first fight, except more aggressive this time around. A little bit more damage going into the backline further back.
I don't know, Gore. Virtus.Pro look like they're not going to be denied on this map. Fight back from Envy in the last 2 games has been there, but it looks like that gas tank might just be empty in the crucial moment here on Ice Mines. Dragon Punch that was used just to get him forward and get a kill onto Hayes, who has been picked off time and time again here in this game.
That was Fisheko deciding that he wasn't going to stop for any reason. Like, not hitting his ult didn't matter to him. He's going to go forward with it. Also, worth mentioning, the only death on their team was Fisheko. It was the first death that they had, and since then he has not died. 10 streak burning for him, so that 4 and 6 comes without anything to stop them. Finally, Cruncy and Dosup's going down. This is more overdue than it is anything else.
I mean, this was building up for forever throughout the first 6 minutes of this game. Finally, Envy are able to get a couple of kills. Defense is on now for them. 1.5 minutes to defend for not only the set, but for 3rd seed. Evil Mojo used, catches out a couple, immediately answered by the Whirlwind. One more time. Vex has been saving it. He's been using it, and it's been perfect. Mr. Hayes, a little bit of revenge onto Fisheko. after the Dragon Punch Rocket combination just a moment ago. And I mean, the answer, that quick snap whirlwind after the Evil Mojo has been big.
That is probably the biggest reason that they are staying alive through a lot of these engagements, is Vex playing this very well. Dragon Punch actually at the ready.
Oh no.
Nice clean kill to start this off. Should get them back to the payload, no problem here for Virtus.Pro. But Vex, even with Cauterize online, with a chicken, you're only healing 1,500 health. You don't have to worry about anything else in the world. You only have to hit the number 1,500. And so even 10% of a whirlwind is enough to keep those guys chugging through. And that seems to be the way it's going. 2-0 and 21 right now as well for him. So Vex doing a lot of work this game, not dying. Should be maybe target number 1 for Envy.
Yep. Well, here's your set if you're Team Envy. You have to defend this one here if you don't want to drop out of it. Fasheko looking for a target. Rubu, the first one to get picked off by Erase. Combustible shot up above, but enough sustain for Random Noob to keep him in the fight. Toe-to-toe. Fasheko's winning the trade, but there's some healing on the back end. Contesting, overtime's gonna begin. Evil Mojo ready to go for Random Noob if he wants to move forward and use it. Erase gets the kill as well, up under the high ground. This Evil Mojo connects onto 2 again, but still no kills from it. Dose-up's a big double. Erase with the snapshot. Down goes Random Noob. Rubu back behind his shield. The shield gets melted. Assert dominance in the air. Oh, the flare drops him back down. Now the flashbang. Virtus.Pro seal up 3rd place.
Do exactly what they need to, exactly when they need to. You can tell Fasheko probably not too happy about that trade when it came down to the end of it with Random Noob. But at least at the end of the day, even though he lost that 1v1, his team won what they needed to.
Oh my
Evil
God.
Mojo is where it stands out the most to me, right? Connects on 2. Everyone on Virtus.Pro immediately is like, okay, cool, cover. We're out of here. Nothing to worry about. The stress is gone from them. And like you said, this is now your 3rd place team going into quarterfinals.
That's right. They don't know their opponent yet. That's the big thing to kind of counter that point with, is there's a whole placement week, and they'll be playing the, I guess, third team. No,
second.
The second. Oh, right,
2.
because it's reversed. They'll
Yeah.
be playing the second team coming out
Probably.
of that one. Math is easy. We're dealing with the numbers 1 through 4, and I still can't do it properly. But they do lock themselves in as that 3rd seed. Luckily for Envy, not much on the table. I mean, you consider 3rd and 4th seed. There is a difference there, but locked in for quarterfinals no matter what. They have some downtime now. They can watch that placement week, figure out maybe who their opponent is going to be. But Virtus.Pro, tense moments there towards the middle, end their split with a big win and secure 3rd seed. So we'll send it back to the desk to wrap up this split.
Thank you, guys, down there in the caster's booth. I mean, we had a back and forth. Envy looked like they were about to come back, and then I blinked, and then this game was over on Ice Mines. I mean, I don't like what.
Yeah. Carrie Potter casted Envy as Tiltkiss, and everything was honestly just over from that point on. Great play at the end of there on Ice Mines. Surprised, we were kind of saying this in the back. Why didn't they go there sooner?
Yeah,
if
I
they
don't
knew
know.
they were going to be this strong on that map, I'm surprised it took them that long to go there. I did think that this would be a strong map for Envy, but some things just were not there firing for them. That aggression at the start. I mean, Fasheko, that crazy aggression he had after they capped that 2nd point was unreal. He Dragon Punched just to chase Hayes all the way to their spawn. That's crazy to me. That's a play that you don't normally think about, but that stagger was actually huge at getting it around the next corner.
I mean, Uncombustible Drogue, too. I mean, you have to sort of play sort of patiently. I mean, when you have that talent. So I'm surprised that, I mean, we all were surprised about how Fasheko was just running people down. And look at Erase, dude. Like, come on. I knew he was doing well. Vex literally undying, 2-0-26. Shout out to him, because shout out to everyone on VP. Their slash lines are not only amazing, but Erase literally has double than what 3 of his teammates have. 12-1-6.
This is Strix. I mean, Strix was banned in every match this set, right? And now we get to see him. And this is why he gets banned constantly. Just the presence that he has in the game is crazy. When you're connecting those flares with unauthorized use, the damage is just so overwhelming. He can burst you for 2,400. I remember laughing at this because Random does that Evil Mojo just to buy some time, but his team's losing the fight in the rest of it. Random does finally show up and help him get Crunchy, but quick scope headshot from Erase, plus I think the flare denial on this assert dominance, if I'm not wrong. Fantastic by them. That burn tick coming in clutch there at the last moment, and great by them. I gotta say also, we mentioned this in the back as well. Vex whirlwinded basically every Evil Mojo that Random was throwing out, and I'm not going to give 100% credit to Vex. I think he deserves a lot of credit for it, but Random was kind of telegraphing a lot of those evil mojos, too. A lot of pips will do that weightless jump in, curving onto your team as soon as it happens, but that whirlwind was always ready for there. Vex saw it coming, recognized it, but maybe Envy could have mixed up the approach just a little bit, make it a little harder to make that work.
Well, speaking of Vex, we actually have to throw it to an interview with Vex and Spuds.
That's right, Vex and Spuds sitting by with us here. Spuds, don't get to talk to you too much anymore after we stop doing the pregame interviews. I'll start you off with a broad one. Talk to me about the change you've seen from this team. Week 1 of Split 2, lots of changes. Now locking up 3rd seed with a win over previously 3rd seed Envy in 4-2 fashion.
The improvement was there early on. I mean, the last couple weeks has been rough. We really lost our identity, which was the biggest thing. That's what we were trying to work on this week. It's not something that's going to come overnight, but like refining our identity was really like key, and hopefully we can do that going to HRX.
So I want to know, Vex, Frozen Guard as well as Warder's Gate, some slip-ups. What exactly went wrong for those maps?
Ooh, so Warders was just a tough draft all around. We were trying something different. We wanted to go pretty standard against Envy, but we tried something different. That didn't work. Frozen, oh God, we just didn't play it right in the point. Yeah, it was a really rough day. Like Virtus.Pro on the Frozen all day. I tell you what, that's kind of what it is.
I have to ask, kind of walk me through that backdoor you had on Timber Mill. You have to bring it up whenever it happens. That was a very sneaky play and kind of pushed you guys to the win there on Timber Mill.
So I was in the middle of that building. I was sitting behind the wall, and I just saw everybody die, and I was still sitting there. I see 2 of them turn back. Two of them turned back and looked at me through the wall. They had no idea. So I just waited, let my team push up a little bit, got on point. I've done a few backdoors in my days, so you can check out my YouTube channel. I have some on there too.
All right, so Spuds, we were kind of talking about it before we got into the interview, but now you're looking at it 3rd seed, 4th seed. Either way, you are not playing competitively technically for 2 more weeks. You get to watch through all the qualifiers. Is there any team that you're kind of looking at, any upsets? What exactly do you see in kind of the future for Paladins through that week? So
going into that tournament, I think definitely either Knights, Kanga, SSG can all win that tournament, in my opinion. Kanga is scary. Kanga's good.
Yeah.
And SSG's getting better. They're coming in a little.
Their team house has done well.
Yeah, they're definitely coming in. I think they're going to come in hot in that tournament. And Knights look like they found themselves again, which is good for them. They feel like, or they look like they're feeling themselves. So any of those 3 teams, in my opinion, can take first. I think we get second, right? So whoever's in that final, whoever loses, will get, and we'll prep for them.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, lots to be decided there. You lock in 3rd seed, but who knows how that placement week is going to end up. Vex, what do the next couple of weeks have in store for you guys? Relax, practice, get primed for HRX, I assume.
A lot of practice and prep. We've taken our week, our couple weeks, 4 weeks off before this, so we know it's grind time. We are going to be at the computers 8, 10, 12 hours a day practicing Paladins. We're just it's grind mode basically for HRX.
Well, big congrats. What a way to end the split for you guys and the split for all of us here. We'll see you guys in a few weeks for the quarterfinals. That's it for us here today, so let's send it back to the desk to wrap up the split.
Sorry.
Yeah, sure, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
We got you, man.
Welcome back, guys. Awesome interview. Congratulations to Virtus.Pro for securing their 3rd place spot. And that's super awesome, man. I mean, we've gone through everything all of these weeks, and now, I mean, it's just the final stand at this point.
Yeah, this is it. That was it. We had a fantastic phase, honestly, altogether. And even on top of that, just a good week. In general, to wrap everything up, I think we had some great games across the board. A great showing by the Knights, by Kanga, VP managing to strike back. The 1st and 2nd seed having an absolute brawl back and forth. It's been some damn good Paladins fun.
It has been. I mean, 4-2 for NIP yesterday, 0-4 for Envy and PK yesterday. I mean, just those 2 games. And then we had 3 bangers today. I mean, it is literally VP played twice. I mean, Not as Vincere play that as well. We have to take a look at the updated standings. See how all of this. Well, yeah, not the updated standings, but you're right. The final standings. This is it, guys. This is where everyone has placed throughout this 14-week phase, this 14-week split, Not As Sincere number 1, number 2 NIP, Virtus.Pro, Team Envy, so on and so forth, SSG, PK, Kanga, and the Renegades, and dead last. That's everybody.
Honestly, who can win Worlds?
I literally don't know.
You literally don't know. We just had our 7 seed take down the 4th seed earlier today.
Yeah, I mean, and good mention
Third
on
seed,
that.
actually.
We'll have to see the bracket. This is a graphic it is. We're going to show you guys. You see Fatal Ambition versus Flashpoint, Hype Unit versus Cyclone GG. This is also the PCW semifinals.
Leading into the console wars.
Match 1 winner of that and match 2 winner of that. And then in round 1, we have SSG versus the match 1 winner, Renegades and All Business, Knights and match 2 winner, and then Kanga and Hype Unit, and then so on and so forth. After those are decided, that will be who
Which
goes
means
to semifinals
there's a
and finals.
possibility that Knights get to play Hype Unit, which is going to get pretty good. But remember that if your favorite team loses, they have another chance. They just move down to that loser's bracket to have another shot at qualifying for Worlds. I think the final teams from the losers finals and the team from the upper bracket finals are the teams that are going to be going there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's going to be absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Super, super sick. And we have to look at the quarterfinals bracket as well for the people who aren't, well, for the people who already qualified, excuse me. For the quarterfinals, you have Not As Sincere, Team Envy, NIP, and Virtus.Pro. And of course, the placements based off of that will determine who those guys play against.
Based off the qualifiers. And the quarterfinals will be played in studio here, 4 best-of-7s that I think are happening in the same day. God help us.
Oh, God help us, please.
And then semifinals and finals are going to be happening at HRX.
Yeah.
On the stage, cast with us. And if you guys want to head down and watch it, trust me when I say it is a hell of a time.
This is going to be my first HRX, so I'm super, super excited for that. I mean, I hope to see a lot of you guys there as well. It's going to be super, super awesome. I mean, that was not only an amazing day today, but an amazing split. Absolutely amazing phase, man.
That was it. And it was some good Paladins. I'm glad we got to share it with you, but we're not done yet. We still have the qualifiers coming up soon.
Yeah, we do indeed. And that's going to be it for us today, guys. I mean, congratulations. I mean, we made it through phase 2, and this is it. This is all the PPL is that we have. You have to tune in back with us in a little bit, or at least a few weeks down the line before we actually get to the qualifier. About a week break everyone's going to have. On November 3rd, we will see the qualifying bracket, or the qualifiers in that case. Everyone's going to be there. It's going to be super awesome. I'm Fawn. This is Kresnik. Thank you guys for tuning in with us on the PPL. Bye, guys.
Alienware, the official PC provider of the Paladins Premier League.
We're here live from Atlanta. The players are here. The stage is set. Let's get some baseball!
This is where we also talk about the new stuff that we've got coming out for you all.
HRX is literally my favorite time of year. It truly isn't close. This is what I live for.
If that's second place, I can't wait to see what first place is.
It's HRX.
Do you miss me at all? Do you think about the things we used to do?